Closing in on kickoff here in Lubbock, Texas Tech and TCU. Let's say hello to Samantha Ponder. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Reese. I talked to Gary Patterson today. He told me in order to prepare for the speed of this Texas Tech offense, he had to prepare his defense a little bit differently in practice this week, which of course was a short week of practice. He told me that he had his defense go against 2 scout teams and within 45 minutes had them run 101 reps. He told me that he called practice like it was a game. Basically had his GAs script the play so he wouldn't know what the offense was going to call. He's like, people underestimate how important it is for the coach to get the plays in quickly on defense. Obviously, that'll be tested tonight. So much unknown with this freshman quarterback. He told me just a couple hours ago that preparing for a game like this is like preparing to go into surgery. They tell you you're going to be okay, but you're never quite sure.
Typically, Gary's defenses have been okay, and so too have Cliff Kingsbury's offenses. As I'm sure you know, he was the offensive coordinator for Texas A&M last year, helping Johnny Manziel to his Heisman Trophy winning season. But Baker Mayfield and the Red Raiders will have to deal with number 95, Devontae Fields. TCU won the toss. They have deferred, so we will see Mayfield and the Red Raiders on offense first. TCU's spectacular place kicker, Jared Oberchrome, getting set to put a foot to it to get us started. 8 touchbacks and 12 kickoffs this year. Deep to return for the Red Raiders, Jakeem Grant and Bradley Marquez. Oberchrome. And the tortillas are flying out of the student section, one of the traditions here in Lubbock. Nobody quite knows how that started, but they're still flying from the corner, and passes will soon be flying when Baker Mayfield takes over this air raid offense. Mayfield, a walk-on from Austin, Texas, Lake Travis High School. He had some scholarship offers, but not the ones he wanted. One he wanted was TCU. Didn't come. Came here to Lubbock. Really fit like a glove into Kingsbury's offense. He won the starting job, and so far he's thrown for nearly 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, and no picks.
And guys, I think one of the most impressive things watching him in the first 2 games, the speed of the game has never been too fast for him thus far. Now, that's going to change tonight, playing against a much better TCU defense with a much better pass rush. Can Baker Mayfield speed his game up?
First snap of the night comes from the 25 after the touchback. Mayfield has some mobility to him and a great run on first down, and he'll pick up another first down. Rush defense, as we'll chronicle tonight, has been a little bit of a problem in the early going for the Frogs. They're giving up nearly 200 yards per game, which is uncharacteristic of them. Mayfield wanting to throw, and he'll just pitch it out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Time for tonight's impact players to impact matchups when the Red Raiders have the ball. First, LaRaven Clark, the best player on a very young offensive line against Devontae Fields. And on the outside, Eric Ward, a 1,000-yard receiver last year against Jason Verrett, one of the best cover corners in the country. He had 6 interceptions a year ago, but still looking for his first this year. Mayfield firing down the field. He had a guy open, and he couldn't quite get it to Jakeem Grant. It'll be 3rd and 10.
You have to take shots against this TCU defense. They're so aggressive. They're going to play so tight to the line of scrimmage and try to take away those short routes. Good idea by Mayfield, but you got to hit those when they present themselves.
And David, here's a time where I'm looking for Devontae Fields, last year's Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Only played 4 series this year, coming off the left edge against an inexperienced offensive line.
Here's Fields and Clark, the impact matchup I told you about just a second ago. Everybody in the pattern. Mayfield has to get rid of it, and he has his first completion, and he'll have enough for the first down. The freshman Reginald Davis making the grab.
TCU's best players on offense are going to have to win against TCU's best. We talked about this matchup in the impact. LaRaven Clark, the best offensive lineman, going against Fields.
Big Jay Samaro catches the quick toss from Mayfield, gets it up to midfield, pickup of about 3.
And you're going to see a lot of that from this offense. It's going to be dink and dunk. It's part of what their running game looks like. They got to find ways to keep getting 2 and 3 yards at a pop.
Mayfield swings it out. This is Kenny Williams. Williams inside the 40 and still on his feet. Williams on his way. Toss the tortillas, fellas. Texas Tech's on the board. Kenny Williams out of the backfield, and he did the work. It'll be a 50-yard touchdown pass. This is mostly Williams.
Texas Tech runs the football conventionally and unconventionally. That swing pass is just an extension of a sweep play. It does a nice job keeping his feet inbounds down the sidelines.
I thought that it might be a little faster tonight for Baker Mayfield, and it very well might be before the end of the evening, but on the first possession, it was the Frogs trying to keep up with Cliff Kingsbury's air raid offense. One possession, one score. Guns up, 7-0. 6 plays, 75 yards. Took a minute and 9 seconds for Texas Tech to score. They're up 7-0 on TCU.
It's not hard to have a high completion percentage when you're throwing little screens and your running backs do this, but watch the blocking on the outside right here by Marquise and Amaro. Both these guys do a great job. Now listen, he holds like crazy on the outside too. Amaro, number 25, but in a terrible job by Anderson, 41, not wrapping up on the play.
There were 3 missed tackles on that one, David.
Yeah.
I got John Kuntz and Chris Hackett also missing tackles as well. Against skilled players in space, you must do a better job wrapping up and getting them on the ground.
And I like what they did by putting both of their bigger receivers on the outside, 260-pound receiver, 200-pound receiver, to block for those screen passes.
B.J. Catalan, who took a kickoff back 100 yards against LSU, will not come close to doing that against Texas Tech. He stopped just across his own 15-yard line. Trevon Boykin comes out at quarterback for TCU. He's a 6'2", 215-pound sophomore. Before Casey Pawhall's problems a year ago, Boykin was moving to running back. Played a little bit of wide receiver this year, but he's been effective at quarterback. Couple of touchdown passes, hasn't turned it over through the air. He also caught 3 balls before Paul Hall was injured last week.
Last week he caught balls, so last week he was playing receiver, but they got to know him last year, having to play when Paul Hall, had his problems and he got to come in. So more experience, but really brings a dynamic ability with his legs, and he's got a cannon. He could sling it down the field too.
We'll see the legs to work early. Boykin going to end up losing one. Terrence Bullitt coming through like a bullet and knocking down Boykin before he can really get started. 2nd and long. Our impact players, when the Horned Frogs have the ball, a couple of terrific running backs on the offensive line's questionable. How much room will Wayman James and B.J. Catalan have? Kerry Hyder is an all Big 12 defensive end. He led all defensive tackles where he played mostly last year, and sacks and tackles for loss among those players in the Big 12. They'll mark him right at the line of scrimmage rather than the loss of 1. And Boykin on 2nd and 10 gets it out to Brandon Carter. Carter, an explosive athlete, gets up across the 20 to about the 23. And here is Casey Pawhall. We mentioned him, the broken left arm he suffered against Southeastern Louisiana. Gary Patterson told us this week that one of the marks of maturity of Pawhall is after the injury, he came in to Gary's office on Sunday and said, I want to travel with the team and help the quarterbacks. Patterson said he's not sure the Paul Hall of the past would have done that. Keep it on the ground on 3rd and 4, and that'll be Wayman James. James, who missed last year with a knee injury, have enough for the first down.
We mentioned that TCU's offensive line is average, but one thing they are too, much bigger than the front 7 from Texas Tech guys. They have to be able to use those big bodies, lean on this smaller Texas Tech front, and make hay running the football.
B.J. Catalan is in. Aaron Green, the transfer from Nebraska, also in there. Got a diamond-looking set. He'll ride it back. Getting the first carry tonight is Green. A short game. It'll be 2nd down and long. You mentioned the difference in size. It's one of the things TCU would like to take advantage of tonight. There it is.
Yeah,
the numbers.
It's basically 40 pounds per player. So that's got to show up.
And especially when you have, I think your best 2 offensive players are running backs. So even more so you want to lean on these guys. And this is tough too when you start spreading them out. You got a running back playing quarterback too, so you got to defend all areas of the field with Texas Tech. Texas Tech does.
Boykin. It's across the 30, maybe to about 32. Bruce Jones, the diminutive cornerback, makes the tackle. Boykin's helmet comes off, so the rule put in place last year, he's got to leave the game for a play. TCU could buy their way out of that with a timeout, but they won't. Instead, they'll send in Tyler Matthews. He's a redshirt freshman from Wichita, Kansas. Many recruiting services a couple of years ago had him among the top 6 pro-style passers in the country. They bring in Tyler on a 3rd and 6 after Boykin's helmet comes off.
This might be a good time for Texas Tech to bring pressure versus the young quarterback, and it looks like they're going to do it here.
Drop out of it. Matthews, little antsy. Now Matthews going to throw it away, and the Red Raider defense forces a punt. Eventually the pressure coming from Darquan Bush.
And it's not an ideal situation for Matthews coming off the bench either in third and 7, not loosen, not even really expecting to play, having to come in on that 3rd and 7. But Texas Tech defense, they got to get stops. Now they can employ that tempo and make it even worse on TCU's defense.
Ethan Perry, the punt. Sadeo Foster calling for the fair catch. He'll take that. He's going to mark it at his 26-yard line. We saw Baker Mayfield on the first series for the Red Raiders. Lake Travis High School is a powerhouse in the state of Texas in Austin. Won 5 straight state championships, the last of which when Mayfield was a junior. He threw for more than 6,200 yards, 67 touchdowns, and only 8 interceptions in his 2 years as a starter. Also ran for more than 1,100 yards. We'll talk a little bit. You see the scholarship offers. Mike Leach, a former coach here, liked him at Washington State. Florida Atlantic and Rice also offered, but Mayfield wanted to stay in state, believed in his abilities, and so far that's paying off. Another completion to Bradley Marquez.
When you watch Baker Mayfield tonight, just watch how decisive he is. This is only his 3rd game playing in college football, but he always seems to know just where to go with the ball. And I think it's the familiarity, having played in a similar offense at Lake Travis High School.
And he didn't show up mid-season, or he didn't show up at the end of the year last year. He showed up in July.
Yeah.
So he's just learning everything.
Second summer session, and tough for any freshman to do it, let alone a walk-on guy. And here's a man open. Great grab by Jakeem Grant. The little fella, only 5'6", climbing the ladder and making the grab.
We talked about the young true freshman quarterback feeling the speed of this pass rush. Does a nice job extending the play, and what a catch by the 5'6" Grant.
Red Raiders on the move again at their own 49. On the ground. Not much running room for DeAndre Washington. No, we talked to Kingsbury yesterday about what sold him on Mayfield winning the job. You watch him buying a little time. He talked about the moxie that he had, the ability to make plays.
Well, he just showed it to you right there, too. Yeah. I mean, kind of buying time, scrambling around. He's not running down the field. It doesn't look dynamic, but did a great job with his feet, buying time and making a completion.
2nd down and 9. Complete over the middle. That's big Jay Samaro running sideways, and now he's got that 265-plus turned upfield and is close to the 1st down.
A good example of the young quarterback getting through his progression, getting the football out of his hands early. And guys, I've never seen a tight end or a big receiver, 6'5", 270 pounds, run as well as Jay Samaro. This guy is playing on Sundays.
He's a weapon. TCU coaches called him a freak. That's what he has been. Mayfield a hot start, 6 of his first 8. Back to the ground, and this time the Frogs hit him in the backfield. It'll be 2nd and long. The moment probably in fall camp that gave Baker Mayfield the job. He'd been good in the young people drill, the 7-on-7s. They put him in a 2-minute drill with the first team. He completed a pass not dissimilar to the one we saw him hit Grant with, and he ran by Kingsbury, slapped him on the rear end and said, "Yeah!" And Kingsbury said, at least in demeanor, not in skill set necessarily.
There was another word before the yeah.
Let me tell you something, Jess, as he completes another ball inside the 40. I run a G-rated show here, okay?
Okay.
And besides, what Baker's mom and dad are listening, they're not aware that he might use a little salty language.
Hey, you know what? Maybe he does, but I'll tell you what, he plays, backs it up, and that's the moxie that we're talking about. He just has it.
It's 7 in a row, but he needs 7 yards to move the sticks. Mayfield on the run, got an alley, cuts inside, close to the 1st down, ball is loose, and that has been a little bit of an issue for him, but Texas Tech there to pounce on it. It was Sean Corker who got on it.
Historically, watching air raid offenses, we haven't seen a lot of running quarterbacks until last year with Johnny Manziel. Now, Mayfield not the same runner as Manziel, but on big 3rd downs, he can get outside. You got to keep 2 hands on that football high and tight. This one here pretty close.
It looks like his rump touched the ground first, and that would have put him down.
That's G-rated saying rum.
Trying to stay G-rated.
Both of you guys G-rated.
Mayfield on the scramble again. He's swallowed up by Marcus Mallett.
Texas Tech's offensive line is the weakness on this entire team. They are inexperienced. They're not very athletic. They're going to have to play a heck of a game tonight against a much more athletic and very good front from TCU.
Very good defensive front, too, that is going to stay fresh. These big boys up front, they don't really rotate the whole time. They want to do this tempo, and I know it's a good thing, and it's fast-paced, and everybody loves it. But when you got waves of defensive line 8 deep coming at you, sometimes you're the one that wears down later in the ball game.
2nd and 12. Mayfield throwing. Saw an official's hat come off over there. Jason Verrett on the coverage. And that's 3rd and 12.
And that's another game within the game for me. Jason Verrett is one of the best cornerbacks in college football. Really physical, good feet. He's a small guy, but he can play. Do they attack him? They threw it a couple plays ago on him, but he just had to go off the field to get his helmet fixed.
Right
That's
now,
good for
that is not what you want.
I'm looking in the slot right now. Where's Jay Samaro and Jakeem Grant inside versus some linebackers and safeties? Stay away from the All-Americans outside.
Where's Devontae Fields? Big man up here.
They've gotten rid of the ball quickly enough and neutralized him the other times. I haven't heard much from Devontae yet, but it's still early. Mayfield down the middle, and it's picked off. Chris Hackett with the interception, and that is the one thing TCU thought it could take advantage of against Mayfield.
The one concern I had coming into this game, watching Baker Mayfield on tape, being a true freshman, he stares receivers down over the middle of the field.
So a good drive by the Red Raiders, stopped by the pick, throwing into triple coverage, and Hackett grabbed it. This place has produced some outstanding talent, guys who played very well in the NFL. Cliff Kingsbury, during his career here in Lubbock, threw for more than 12,000 yards, 95 touchdowns. Came here under Spike Dykes, a legendary Red Raider coach, but was the first quarterback into Mike Leach air raid offense and put up most of those numbers.
Was that 3 years ago?
Mike at the helm. It looks like it sometimes, doesn't it? After the first interception of Baker Mayfield's career, Trevon Boykin tries to answer, and he overshoots his man. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Now, as you watch the game tonight, one thing you might notice in the backfield is that you have an extra official in the backfield. That's the alternate, an 8th official on the field. The Big 12 is experimenting with this rule this year. And primarily, what the alternate official's job is to get the ball spotted so the offense can be ready. As red offenses and tempo have become more prolific and more prevalent in college football, the referee in the white hat and the umpire who lines up just behind the defensive line, you see him there behind the linebackers, their duties of getting the ball spotted, Raymond James has a good pickup on 2nd down, had taken away from some of their duties watching the game, calling penalties and so forth. So the Big 12 is experimenting with this extra official, and so far so good. They like it. They feel like that it makes it more fair even for the defense to allow them to get substitutions on the field.
Do they have to put an A on his back, though?
That might change after a while.
Saying, wouldn't you want to be one of the guys? You got to slap an A on my back?
Well, the other guys have letters too, right? Brandon Carter, feed sweep. Carter thrown for a loss, and the Red Raiders struck with a stop for the 2nd time tonight. Dartwan Bush making a play.
We talked about TCU's offensive line having to be dominant against the smaller Texas Tech front 7. Right there, Dartwan Bush doing a nice job fighting into the backfield, getting off of blocks, and again, quickly getting the football back to their offense.
TCU will have to punt. Ethan Perry's one of the better ones in the country. Sadale Foster standing at his own 30. Flag flies. Very short punt. Foster comes all the way up. Almost his 45, just inside his own 45 before he makes the fair catch. See what the call is from our referee, one of the original 7 referees, Reggie Smith.
With an R for ref. Or Reggie.
I'm surprised you didn't like the A. You always want to be first and be in the A team.
That's true.
Illegal formation, offense, more than 4 in the backfield. That 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. 1st down, time down.
Not a great start for TCU, and Texas Tech will have it back at midfield when you come back to 11. Last 5 seasons have been a roller coaster for Texas Tech. Some would argue the high point of Red Raider football came when Michael Crabtree caught that game-winning pass to beat Texas, #1 in the land. But just a little over a year later, Mike Leach was fired after 10 seasons. Tommy Tuberville never really fit here, left of his own accord for Cincinnati. And then 34-year-old Cliff Kingsbury comes in, and they think their coach is hotter than your coach. I'm interested to see what type of reaction that poster gets in Lawrence, Kansas, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Cruel.
What?
You're on fire today.
What?
You are on fire, Reese Davis.
I'm just kidding. Charlie and Brady know that I like that.
You know, the one thing about Cliff Kingsbury, I feel like him being back here, the swagger's back around this program. And David, you'd mentioned earlier, he is the perfect fit for this place. And was it a risk hiring a 34-year-old with 5 years experience? Maybe. But I would have argued it would have been a bigger risk getting a head coach from a lesser program or an offensive defensive coordinator from a big program that might have used this job as a stepping stone and left quickly.
And also, Jesse, I think somebody who didn't understand the culture here.
Exactly.
And somebody
Yeah,
didn't appreciate what has been built here, and certainly Cliff does that. Mayfield fires complete to Jason Morrow. Morrow found a seam in the Horned Frog defense, and he took it right down to the 20-yard line, a pickup of 31.
On the interception on the last drive, Baker Mayfield stared down Jason Morrow over the middle of the field. This time, Baker Mayfield looked left first, allowed Morrow to find the soft spot in the zone, came back and found his big receiver.
You know, that interception we talked about, he'd thrown 100 passes with no interceptions. Wow. That's a pretty good ratio for as much as they're going to throw it. Flags are flying.
False start, offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty, it's first down.
And it's a good job by Baker. Watch him come a little bit sidearm, too, in the pocket. Just flick it out wide, finding his open receiver. You know, the interesting thing that I want to see out of Baker now is when the field shrinks and they start to get in this red area. This is where you have to fit it in tight windows and you can't stare receivers down. You saw him have 1 turnover down here. How can he do down here in the red zone?
Scored 7 touchdowns and 11 trips coming into the night. Morrow trying to turn the corner. And he's knocked out of bounds. Samantha Ponder working the sidelines. What do you hear from Baker, Sam?
No difference between Baker Mayfield on the sideline after throwing the pick and after the touchdown drive. Does not look like a freshman, completely calm and collected. And that confidence trickling down from his head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, said so many times, they can't stop us. Happy with his O-line's protection right now, but telling him get ready to go fast.
One guy might be more involved is Eric Ward. Double pass coming, and the lefty, Kenny Williams, overshot Baker Morrow in the end zone.
So, David, you just mentioned to go playing well in the red zone for Baker Mayfield. I'd tell you defensively for TCU, playing great defense in the red zone. People say you can't play defense in the Big 12. I think that's garbage, considering the tempos of offenses they play and they play in space. You have to be great at getting turnovers. You have to force field goals, not touchdowns in this area of the field. Huge down for TCU.
Forcing field goals won the game last year for Texas Tech. They forced TCU to kick 6 field goals, Big 12 record, and ended up losing in overtime. And Mayfield is going to get acquainted with Big Chucky Hunter, 6'1", 300-pounder from West Monroe, Louisiana.
Big Chucky's a grown man in there.
Yeah, he
you
is.
go watch the LSU tape. They double-teamed him the whole game, but he might only be 6'1", but he's 300 pounds, pretty quick, pretty strong. Just another one of those guys that they have on the defensive line that kind of makes them different than most Big 12 teams.
So Ryan Buston come on to attempt the field goal. They do just what Jesse was talking about through the Horned Frogs. Of course, Texas Tech tried for 3. This is a 39-yard attempt officially. Buston is perfect. And Tech has jumped on top with the first 10 points of the game. See if he can get the O rolling. TCU has had horrible field position. All 3 drives starting inside their own 20-yard line. Started twice at the 17, this time at the 13. Catalan trying to make a big play, couldn't find any room on the kickoff return, and Frogs in a hole again.
There was no foul on the play for delayed game. The play clock was not properly started.
All right, TCU right now has to get something going on offense. They've been very stagnant their first 2 drives, down in a hole here, 10-0. I'd like to see them establish their run a little bit more early and down. Start setting up more second and third and manageable.
Wayman James and B.J. Catalan, both in the backfield with Boykin. Catalan. B.J. some short tackling by the Red Raiders defensive coordinator Matt Wallerstedt. Trey Porter was the guy this time.
Yeah, and they creep Porter up late in the box, late in the play. He's going to come down from the left part of your screen. Here he comes. Picking up that 8th man in the box, doing a great job of coming up, wrapping up, and making a play. That's what you're trying to stop first. The run game is most important, and this defense is fun. They bring guys from all over the place.
Matt Wallerstedt was at A&M last year as an assistant. Spent time at Air Force defensive coordinator. Wayman James getting close to first down yardage.
And David, that's interesting because Texas Tech is very unique defensively in the Big 12 because of all the pressure they normally bring. The first 2 games, they bring 4, 5, 6 guys. You don't know if it's linebackers, corners, or safeties. There's no rhyme or reason, no tendencies. I'm surprised tonight, though, because they're not bringing a lot of pressure. They're hanging back, keeping the football in front of them, running to the ball.
Again, just straight 4-man rush. Catalan picked up a couple. Is that because the lack of pressure, because they believe they can handle TCU's offensive line?
I believe they don't think their D linemen can get after the quarterback one-on-one, and generally they have to sacrifice 5, 6, 7 other, or an extra 3 defenders from the second level of defense to get home to the opposing quarterback. Tonight they haven't had that problem.
TCU offensive line been a little bit of a point of concern, particularly the play of the tackles. They try to keep it on the ground. It's going to be 3rd and long. You've watched a lot of TCU's tackles and the way they've struggled so far tonight. Texas Tech's defensive line's had the better of it, David.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you could make a legitimate beef. The weakness of this team is their offensive line, especially their offensive tackles. I mean, we saw it last week. We're sitting there watching the tape, and they struggled handling movement. If I'm Texas Tech, I'm taking defensive ends. I'm stunting them inside. I'm keeping them guessing because it's a spot where they've been weak so far through a couple weeks.
TCU's only thrown it 3 times, with Boykin looking to do it again. He's got Carter over the middle of the field. A fine defensive play by the umpire. Slowing down Carter, but not before he picks up a first down, and now there's a late flag coming in after the play. Pickup of 19. See that extra official on the field? Sometimes one of them gets in the way, right?
He was the best defender on that play.
It wasn't the new official,
I almost thought Carter dropped the ball.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 69. That's a 15-yard penalty. They made a first down. It's 1st and 10, TCU.
So Texas Tech defensive coordinator Matt Wallerstedt decides to bring pressure from the outside. You talked about how the tackles got to play better. Well, here's Evian Collins doing a nice job kicking out, giving his quarterback time to make a throw and convert a first down.
And then run down the field and hit somebody in the back for no apparent reason.
That was, he was chasing his man, Pete Robertson. Collins gave him a little shove late, got flagged for it. It was a pickup at 19. They did get the first down, but the field position's not what they had hoped after a big play in the passing game. Back to the ground with Wayman James.
I think one of the best things TCU's offense does with Boykin now in the game as the guy is his ability to run the football. We haven't seen him keep it very much yet. We haven't seen him run the speed option. That's his biggest strength. I know you don't have anybody behind him now, probably anybody you believe in, but I'd give it to Boykin a little bit more, put it in his hands.
And perhaps in the second quarter, we will see more from Trevon Boykin in the running game. The Red Raider defense has been the dominant force. The masked rider out. The players have delivered. And the faithful happy with a 10-0 lead after one. Take you to College Station at halftime. Talked a little bit to Cliff Kingsbury about Johnny Manziel's opportunity to beat Alabama for a second time. Von Boykin's pass is complete to Josh Doxson. The transfer from Wyoming makes the grab.
Somebody at wide receiver has to step up for TCU. They really miss having Josh Boyce a year ago that kind of did everything for them. There's a nice tough grab in traffic. They got a lot of big physical receivers, but they need a dependable guy week in, week out.
Doxson probably their best route runner. He has the distinction of having scored a touchdown against TCU a couple of years ago, and then for TCU this season. Catalan didn't get much. Terrence Bullitt on the stop.
And it's Texas Tech's defensive line that continues to do a good job standing up TCU's offensive line. What do you want them to run? I mean, Catalan and James are two of their best offensive weapons, but when there's not space to run, everybody's kind of for it.
With the size disadvantage on the defensive line, and with
that's overrated. Every offensive line has a size advantage.
That's true.
This is a big advantage in this game.
You know, other than Kerry Hyder, didn't know if there was a big standout on the defensive line. They've played very well so far. Underneath completion for Boykin, and boy, Darius Brown took one right in the mustache.
Wow.
A little slow getting up. Let's have a look.
His helmet's on sideways.
Look at that hit. See who delivered that hit.
Wow.
That was Trey Porter.
You see, his helmet's on sideways right there because of helmet to helmet.
He's lucky he didn't get called for targeting because he ducked it over the crown of his head.
Crown of his helmet.
Very
fortunate. Your head, lowering the target helmet to helmet. I mean, that's the definition of the rules.
And Trey's lucky he's going to be around for the rest of the night. 3rd and 5. Boykin. Straight ahead inside the 40. He slid too soon. It's a lack of awareness from Boykin, although Patterson's wanted him to take care of his body, but he's got to be more aware of where he needs to go.
He's been careless in the first 2 games, trying to flip over defenders, putting himself in harm's way. But here, nice pocket, nice job realizing he has a run lane, but know where the first down marker is. I mean, he slid almost a full yard, maybe a yard and a half short.
Yeah, it's going to be, they got to get Jesse down to almost a 38, so they'll need 2. And 4th down, TCU's going to call a timeout and try to get just the right ball play. Trevon Boykin on the phone with offensive coordinator Jared Anderson. He'd rather talk to anybody other than Gary Patterson, who came over and in no uncertain terms explained the error of his ways. Sliding too soon, Patterson pulled his offense off the field during the timeout. They're going to punt it with Ethan Perry. You like the call from the Texas Tech 40?
No. When you have a running quarterback like him, why not spread the field and get a run-pass option?
Perry trying to put it dead in great territory, and things are not going well for TCU. Now,
I disagree with what he said, by the way.
So do I. I'm going to concentrate on the play on the field. Look, Texas Tech's going to go fast after the punt into the end zone and the touchback. They've got it on the 20, but I do want to get what David said just before we checked in with Chris. Baker Mayfield, another first down toss, and they'll move the chains to Jay Samaro. Why did you disagree? Jesse didn't like the punt. What did you think, David?
What has that offensive line shown me that they can run the football? They haven't yet. They haven't been physical at all, so I'm not expecting them to change on 4th and short just because
when they've spread the field, they've run it well. It's when they've gotten all condensed, bringing in Brandon Carter at receiver, they got stuck.
Mayfield pulls it down.
You gained 20 yards right there punting the football in field position.
Well, if you tell me he was going to kick it out of the end zone, it's a different story, but he should have caught it at the 1, and then you're talking about a totally different game. But they haven't pushed anybody off the ball yet. Physically up front on the offensive line, TCU's been pretty bad.
Go underneath to Grant. Grant makes a couple of frogs miss. Gets into TCU territory. The electrifying sophomore Elijah Olabo missed the tackle, a pickup of 14.
To me, Jakeem Grant can't touch the football enough tonight. You see all the moves. He's only 5'6", 160 pounds, but he is easily the most explosive player on offense for Texas Tech. You're going to see him line up a running back tonight. He's got to get his touches there as well, wide receiver.
124 yards after the catch for Red Raider receivers tonight.
Picked.
And then we have an interception. It's Kevin White. Kevin White, known as the other cornerback. It is indeed an interception. He made 2 great plays in the end zone against LSU in the opener, and he makes a fine play to take it away from Bradley Marquez here.
And when you have one of the best cornerbacks in college football, Jason Verrett, on the other side, Mr. White gets a lot of balls thrown his way. And it looked like both of them had the football, but never control. I don't think Marquez ever had control of the football.
Well, first he hit him early.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. I mean, a tie goes to the receiver, but I don't think he had control either, David. The ball never, it doesn't appear to touch the ground ever. That's what they're going to look at here as well, to see maybe if that was an incompletion.
Yeah. And remember what the call was on the field.
Replay official is Don Capro. He'll be looking at it. We'll see if the interception stands. Replay official let Kevin White's interception stand, second interception of his career. Here's the play he made on Bradley Marquez.
And this is impressive because I think Marquez is the most physical receiver Texas Tech has, but Kevin White might be the second best corner on this defense. That doesn't mean he's a scrub. He's about as good a second corner as you'll find in the country.
If you guys can look at me and look at that play and tell me what happened, because I don't have a clue what just happened. I can't see anything, and it's appropriate that the call stood.
Right.
It wasn't confirmed. It wasn't, you can't overturn it, but it's hard to tell what happened on the other side.
Exactly. As David mentioned, that's the verbiage. You have to have indisputable video evidence to overturn a call on the field. When the official comes back and says the play stands, as they did here, basically not enough video evidence to tell. Perhaps pressure coming from the corner, and whistles to stop play.
False start, offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
See, there was an example of defensive coordinator Wallerstedt dialing up a corner blitz from the short side of the field. Again, you study the film, it doesn't really matter what formation you're in or what personnel you're in.
They're just coming.
He just dials them up, and it's hard for a quarterback to determine which 4, 5, 6 guys are coming.
Especially on a short week playing on Thursday.
No doubt.
Raymond James, the running back, with Boykin. Boykin has Carter. 45, and there's another flag down. It's sitting back at the 30-yard line.
Dunbar.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 32. 15-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Now, Raymond James was called for that. And I saw the alternate official go over and pick up his flag, and the other duty, in addition to spotting the ball for the alternate official, he's watching his side of the line of scrimmage, specifically watching the tackle. And in this case, when the running back came into his field of vision, he caught him chop block.
Well, that's blind spots, right? Having the 8 official on the field allows the referee to watch the other side of the offensive line action, so there's less missed calls. There's fewer missed calls. It's a great addition.
TCU has to get it to Amarillo for a first down. Boykin takes a big hit. About the 27, it'll be second and long.
He didn't slide that time, did he? Forget that. But I tell you what, Texas Tech doing a good job dropping 8. And every time they've dropped 8, take away all the passing lanes, this is what Boykin's going to do. He's going to tuck it down and run it, try not to force the ball in a tight window. And when you start off 1st and 30, it's probably a pretty good idea, because guess what? You got 6 yards. Now it's 2nd and 24.
Normally 6 yards is really good on first down.
Yeah.
Not necessarily here. Good idea might be just to try to create a little more room to punt. Boykin chased out of the pocket. That was a 35, and he didn't slide again, and he's turned upside down by J.J. Gaines.
See, those are times you're supposed to slide. When it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, you need 2 yards to get a first down. That's when you sell out. But right now, Texas Tech's defense, they're playing with their hair on fire. I mean, bodies are flying around. They're making some hits.
Boykin, 4 out of 5, 54 yards. He needs 16 on 3rd down. Full house crowd getting into it. Trayvon into the middle, and it's intercepted. J.J. Gaines. Gaines with 2 huge plays on that defensive series. First, he turns Boykin upside down, and then he flips the field with the interception.
As a quarterback, you can't throw late over the middle of the field. On this example, Boykin was looking for his running back, B.J. Catalan, on the post throw. You see his coach telling him that right there. He starts to the left side of the field. The pressure forces him to step up, and it disrupts the timing of the throw. You can't be late. That allows the safety Gaines to get involved.
And it started again up front. 5 guys to block 4. And a guy comes running free right up the A-gap, right in the quarterback's face that makes him scramble. Again, it's the line of scrimmage right now that Texas Tech's dominating on both sides of the ball.
Texas Tech fans not afraid to show their school spirit, among other things. Timeout called on the field. Our Thursday thesis, freshman quarterbacks and why so many are having success. Texas Tech rodeo team, I want you to check this out. They've won 7 national championships. The women's team won it in 2012. You guys ever tried that?
No, that looks like Pollock sacking a quarterback back in the day at Georgia.
I actually
It's like a Jared Allen tie thing he does.
Oh,
After he gets
true,
a sack in the
Wrap it
NFL.
up, let it
That's
go.
nice, yeah.
I actually did it once, but not from the horse shoot dogging, they called it, right out of the gates.
How'd that work out for you?
I took a beating.
But you got back up, that's all that matters.
I did. Completion on first down to Jakeem Grant. Flags are flying. And Baker Mayfield, let's see what the call is. He's among the freshman quarterbacks who've had great success. 3 of these guys, true freshmen. Jared Goff at Cal, who takes on Ohio State this weekend. Mayfield and Christian Hackenberg at Penn State. And we saw the brilliant debut of Jameis Winston for Florida State against Pittsburgh on Labor Day night. You can tweet your favorite freshman quarterback.
Offense, number 18. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Derek Ward caught for the hold. And you can tweet your favorite freshman quarterback at ESPN College Football. And we'll be talking about the success of the young quarterbacks and why that is throughout the broadcast tonight. Mayfield showed option, now wants to throw it, being chased, and he'll just throw it away. And after great start, Baker's thrown a couple interceptions in his last 7 attempts now, and he's looking at a 2nd and 13.
So if I'm him, I would stop throwing outside. And that's unfortunate because Bradley Marquez and Eric Ward are good receivers, but you're playing against 2 NFL caliber corners. Go inside, use Jay Samaro over the middle of the field in his size, use Jakeem Grant in his quickness. That's where your best passing plays have come tonight.
It's a great matchup. Barrett taking on Ward. Throw to the outside with the man out of the backfield. And he caught the touchdown pass earlier, Kenny Williams, and a lot of laundry flying on the field here in Lubbock. The sun starts to set in the high western plains, the South Plains, they call this area of Texas. Beautiful area, great renovations on campus here at Texas Tech. $135 million put into this stadium.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The pass was caught behind the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd down.
Might not have been pass interference, but it might have been a clip. You saw Kenny Williams catch that pass early for the first 50-yard plus touchdown. Texas Tech, throw those quick, get it out of the quarterback's hand. If you can keep blocking on the perimeter and keep making guys miss, you've seen it several times. It's been their best play tonight.
Now here's where Devontae Fields has to show up. Empty set. Where's the pressure from last year's Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year? Here he is here at the bottom of the screen.
Pressure from the middle. Mayfield escapes it. Another flag down in the backfield. Mayfield inside the 20. Mayfield inside the 10, but this is likely going to come back. The flag is at the 38.
Well, that time, Devontae Fields didn't really rush hard up the field, did he, David? He kind of just hung back and looks like he was in position to make a play, just falls down.
Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
You're preached to all week in this offense, Jess, that the quarterback's going to get the ball out of his hands fast. Get your hands up. Try to bat it down. That doesn't mean you stop rushing the passer. He's done it all night so far. Every time I've watched him, he's oozing off the ball, and he's just trying to get his hands in the air. You got to pin your ears back and come. If you're getting past the quarterback, then convert to power and then just keep him in the pocket. But so far, he's had 0 impact, and he's just trying to bat balls down.
Let's not diminish what that penalty did, too. I mean, instead of a 25-yard run, instead of 1st and goal, you're looking at 3rd and 17 from close to midfield. And Mayfield skipped it toward Marquez.
And that's been a theme, Reese, so far in this game. We've seen 3 huge penalties by offensive linemen in this game that have negated huge gain downfield. We've seen 2 from TCU. That one was a killer from Texas Tech. Because not only now, I mean, forget scoring a touchdown. It looked like you could have that chance. Now you're not even getting a shot to kick a field goal. And you mentioned how in this league, in this game last year, field goals were the difference.
It was last year, TCU. Jared Oberchrome kicked 6 field goals. It ended up being 56-53 in triple overtime. TCU doesn't have anybody deep to return the punt. And TCU is going to have Texas Tech back up 5.
Offense, by their penalty, it's 4th down.
That'll probably
give him a little more
work
room
in favor of the punter anyway, give him a little more room to try to pen the Frogs deep in their own territory. But last year, despite that high-scoring game going into the 4th quarter, TCU had held Texas Tech to around 200 yards of offense, and things got a little out of control later. Brandon Carter ran onto the field to return the punt. But this is a really short kick. We'll see where it bounces, and it is going to take a big Red Raider roll. Very well done. Held down it inside the 15. Wasn't the prettiest thing you'll ever see, but 34 very effective yards off the foot of Taylor Semenk. Buddy Holly's home. Texas Tech's rocking and rolling so far. Maize and blue to a victory. Boykin. And he stopped just as he crosses the 15. Sam Boykin and Paul Hall come close to Friends Catalan out of the backfield. One of the things that happens at Thursday practices at TCU, the offensive linemen, in tribute to each other, switch jersey numbers. It had never happened for quarterbacks before this year. And Paul Hall, oh man, poor guy. Broke his left arm last week, and one of his teammates checking into the game just bumped into it. My goodness.
I mean, I'm not trying to laugh, but you know, you're injured. Like, hey, listen, because I've been in a sling before. All right, I broke my clavicle. Yeah,
wasn't it the Florida?
I wasn't near the sidelines.
Yeah.
I was in the back.
Isn't that when a fight broke out?
I was in the back.
Florida State. I was kind of hung.
I was on fire. You kidding me? I was on fire.
Boykin a lot of time. Runs out of it and can't run close enough to get the first down. So 4 times in 5 drives, TCU has started inside its own 20-yard line. And the field position has hurt them, but the offense has been ineffective as well, and the Horned Frogs will have to punt it.
And the quick passing game of TCU is going to be their best option. They got bigger wide receivers on the outside. Texas Tech's got some really small DBs. I think they need to take advantage of the quick passing game. And Boykin quit scrambling so much. Keep your eyes down.
Ethan Perry in punt formation for the Frogs. Sadale Foster standing inside his own 40. Foster driven back inside his 35. He'll make the fair catch, and the Red Raiders will have it back. Our Thursday thesis tonight, the emergence and the success of freshman quarterbacks. We're seeing Baker Mayfield here tonight. He's thrown a couple of picks, but he's 13 of 20 for 177 yards. Why do you think more freshman quarterbacks, in many cases true freshmen, are having success?
I think they're better prepared coming out of high school to have success immediately in college football. A lot of these quarterbacks in high school are playing in spread offenses very similar to what they're going to run on Saturdays in college. There's 7-on-7 leagues now going on. There's quarterback gurus that they're flying out and going and seeing. Quarterbacks and receivers and as freshmen better prepared to have success early.
And I think offenses, we talk about the spread and the hurry up, the offenses are also not as complicated as they used to be. It's not the pro-style reads. You got to read the safety, do this. You got to read the linebacker, do this. First, second, third progressions. The offenses have kind of been dumbed down. It's faster, but it's not as complex, and there's a lot of systems you can see.
So would that change things for you? And look, I know it's very early in his career, but Christian Hackenberg at Penn State's a true freshman guy. He comes in late, he wins the job, but he's running more of a pro-style offense.
So. And that's impressive. I mean, it's hard to do. I also think Bill O'Brien's one of the best in the country at making things simple on his quarterback, and he's still got a long way to go, but it is a lot more impressive.
Mayfield threw it in traffic, and Amaro took a shot. 3rd down and long. Kingsbury last year, while being the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M, helped orchestrate that sensational season that Johnny Manziel had. As Manziel that offense to work. Mayfield fires a strike. It's a first down for the Red Raiders.
I mean, we're used to seeing Tyler Eifert, Colby Fleener, much smaller tight ends have success in college. He's built differently.
And Cliff told us yesterday they list him at 260. He said he's a good 270, 6'5", very well proportioned. You know,
he's on your workout plan. That's why.
His body type is more wide receiver, but the size is tight end. He's been a weapon in the first half. Mayfield now getting some heat, and this time they're going to get to him. Big number 91, Matt Anderson on the sack.
We've been waiting for this. I mean, where's the TCU pass rush come from? I mean, Baker's had a lot of time back in the pocket. It's been really simple for him. Finally, Anderson says, enough of this crud. We'll get back there to you. And it's not a great rush. It's more Baker getting a little flustered and trying to get outside the pocket, but the pressure's got to come from somewhere. Fields has been MIA.
And Fields is taking a break. This is by design. Anderson's a guy who played on TCU's Rose Bowl team a couple of years ago. He's missed the last 2 years, or 3 years ago, with a knee injury. He's come back in full force this year. DeAndre Washington makes the catch. Doctors advised Anderson it might be a good idea not to play football anymore, but Matt doesn't really believe necessarily that he's going to have a chance at the next level. Wanted to come back and said even if he had to play scout team, wanted to help his team win championships. And he's been very productive for Patterson this year.
He's a great story. Showed up as a safety, 214 pounds, put on the weight, very athletic. They're going to need him again right here, facing off against Texas Tech's best lineman, Raven Clark.
Good protection. Mayfield down the middle, and maybe if Jakeem Grant were 6'1", he would have had a shot at it, but at 5'6", he didn't.
And David, you said earlier that you're looking at Mayfield to make throws in tight windows in the red zone. I want to see him make throws in the intermediate to deep ranges. In this offense, you can find a lot of easy completions underneath, but true freshman, I know he's accurate, but you can prove it by fitting those types of footballs in, because that's what you're going to have to do against better defense.
And if Grant's 5'10", he catches that.
I mean, you say 5'10", I gave him 6'1", but 5'10" would have been enough to get him there?
Yeah, 5'10" would have been good.
Semaine. Brandon Carter fields the punt. It's across the 20, so just for the second time tonight, the Frogs will start a drive outside their own. And he did that as a redshirt freshman, a guy who was not necessarily heralded coming in. Here's Deontay Gray making his first grab. He's the guy that TCU wants to get involved in the offense.
And staying on the topic, guys, because of Manziel's success and because Everett Golston takes his team to a national title game as a redshirt freshman, fans now expect these freshman quarterbacks to play well right away, whether it's Marcus Mariota, Brett Huntley, Kevin Hogan out in the Pac-12. Michael Vick did it in 1999.
Boykin this time doesn't slide before the yellow line. Gets the first down. I think there's still a difference even with Mariota, Manziel, Jameis Winston. They've at least been on campus for a year.
Yeah.
But three of these guys this year, and I know the competition's going to get tougher.
Yeah.
But Goff, Mayfield, Hackenberg, fresh out of high school, makes a difference. They've been able to handle the speed of the game. Boykin on the slant, complete. David Porter close to first down yards in the final 3 minutes of the first half. TCU trying to mount a drive and get on the board.
And this needs to be their offense the rest of the game. They need to throw short passes and take advantage of their size on the outside. Texas Tech plays off. Take the 7 yards, take the 6 yards. Keep getting positive gains.
Does Texas Tech have the guts defensively with smaller DBs to be more physical and challenge them? That's the question.
And another penalty flag, a false start on TCU.
False start, offense number 74. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's take a look at their secondary. 5'7", 5'9", safeties 5'10". TCU's got 4 receivers that are 6'3" or taller. That's got to show up.
Nice, Lamina. Not much there. Terrence Bullock. Boykin's hit all 3 of his passes on this drive, but he's still 2nd and 14 as we're close to 90 seconds to go. Boykin slowed by his own lineman and then stopped by the Red Raiders. Now with 90 seconds to go, 3rd down and long. See if anybody's going to use their timeouts. I believe they had a defection unexpectedly in the offseason. The guy who was a starter last year that they expected to come back, Tayo Fabulije, who started his career at BYU, transferred to TCU, and then transferred back. He's sitting out this year. He was going to be a starter. As you had to look at that bell was called Bangin' Bertha, and they're trying to get the noise revved up in Jones AT&T Stadium on a 3rd and 11 with 90 seconds to play in the first half. Boykin flushed, still on his feet, tackled at the 50. It'll be 4th down. Texas Tech has one more timeout, and they're going to use it. With 1:20 to go.
Great play call here by defensive coordinator Matt Wallerstedt. He's going to use number 10 in the middle of the screen, Pete Robertson, to just spy Trevon Boykin. Doesn't rush, just keeps his eye on the quarterback, waits for him to dance around, and then goes and makes a play.
Yeah, but what's Boykin doing? Hang out in the pocket. It's a 3-man rush. You got time. Take time. That spy's not going to come attack you. He's sitting there waiting. So why don't you sit in the pocket, make some plays in the pocket. Don't take off every time your first read's not there.
There's 4 great Pac-12 Big Ten matchups this weekend. I can't wait.
What's the best?
Cal and Ohio State.
I think that one. I think Wisconsin, Arizona State.
I agree.
Fair catch by Foster, and now flags are flying.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team, number 88. A 15-yard penalty will be added to the succeeding spot. 1st down.
Good eyes, Reese Davis.
Baker Mayfield. Complete again, another flag flies. Amaro made the catch just across the 40.
Man, this is against Texas Tech. I don't know how many times tonight they've had big plays on offense called back. Another great play by Jason Morrow.
Pass interference, offense, number 22.
That's why.
15-yard penalty will be 1st down.
It's a double move over the middle of the field to Jason Morrow. He started running an in route, and at the last second, he's going to break out. Take a look at him right here. He works in.
I don't know. That
I mean, he's entitled to that space.
Remember, it was the 2-minute drive in practice that won Cliff Kingsbury over for Baker Mayfield. Let's see what he does in the last 50 seconds. Jakeem Grant can head to the boundary and stop the clock, and he does.
And this is their regular tempo all the time, so it's not like they have to speed up by any stretch, start getting tense. I mean, this is what they do.
I would slow it down and go to the locker room up 10.
Take it up 10.
Mayfield's over 200 yards passing in the first half. That's a 2nd and 17. I don't know if it's in Kingsbury's DNA to slow down.
Yeah, I don't either.
But his quarterback has thrown a couple of picks.
Yeah. Well, throwing outside, don't throw outside.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Mayfield being chased, throws it up and throws it away. And pressure coming from Chucky Hunter.
Baker Mayfield's best friend in the second half is going to be Jason Morrow. He's already had a monster first half. He was open again on that last play, right there in that deep out route. Young true freshman playing against 2 NFL corners outside, just something to kind of think about.
Now, here's where he needs to be smart. Here's where
he's going to run it.
Yeah.
He's going to run the draw play right here.
Yes, absolutely. Don't make a mistake. Williams knocked down in the backfield. Devontae Fields.
Who? What'd you say?
Devontae Fields.
Oh, interesting.
A little quiet in the first half. So now on 4th down and 31 seconds left as Fields made his first tackle. TCU will use a timeout, and they'll try to get on the board before halftime.
He's been a bit of a different quarterback.
And he started the game off running him right at the gut, try to get him feeling comfortable. This year game, and he hadn't stopped running since hardly. Every time he's had an opportunity, he's taken off.
There's the slide we mentioned. Brandon Carter getting everybody away. And almost hit off a TCU player. The clock will continue to wind down as the ball continues to roll. And of course, TCU is going to start this drive inside its own 20. They've had rotten field position, save for starting one time at the 42. A long way to go with 18 seconds. Quarterback who has not exuded confidence in the first half. Would you just take your you tried to get good field position after the timeout and the punt, but now I would think you just go to the locker room.
As fast as you can.
And you're going to get the football first in the second half. So go regroup.
slap those offensive linemen around a little bit,
slap
Coach.
yourself around a little bit. Wake up.
Lace up those sneakers, Coach.
It's a longtime habit of Gary Patterson's. He largely broken, but reports from the sideline that after the slide by Trevon Boykin that there was a sneaker retie. Now, second year for TCU and Texas Tech to be sharing the same conference, so they're getting together and visiting about that.
Just like we drew it up, only 10 points in the first half, right?
We'll see if TCU can turn the conversation in the second half. The 25-yard line for TCU is their second best starting field position tonight. Boykin gets things started on a Ladarius Brown for a first down.
David, you had mentioned this earlier. If Texas Tech is going to go to an 8-man front and they're going to give access outside to wide receivers, you got to spit it outside to your big physical receivers like Ladarius Brown.
No, absolutely, and a good job by Boykin seeing the corner coming in, safety coming off. Take those quick throws when you can get it. He's got to do a better job throwing the football.
Ball came out late. Wayman James in the backfield with Boykin now. Quick to Gray. Red Raiders stripping at the football. Deontay Gray secure with it.
Now, I do think Texas Tech needs to be careful. These last two snaps, a lot of these gray jerseys are getting closer to the line of scrimmage. Don't be surprised if at some point TCU tries a double move, pump fake, and get a guy back over top of the defense.
Pick up at 3, 2nd and 7. Boykin, option look, kept it, spinning. Ends up picking up maybe about 4. We'll see exactly where they spot. I think he's going to need about 3 yards for the first down.
It's the first time we've seen option tonight. We saw him against LSU running a little option. It gave him some difficulties in week 1. It really test him. I always test the defense when you get to run that quarterback and pick up an extra blocker.
So why not spread the field here again and use your speed at quarterback and your speed at running back and try and stress this defense on the perimeter?
Horned Frogs have been miserable on third down, converting just 1 time and 8 opportunities. An inverted wishbone look, a diamond look. They'll leave it with James. He gets across the 45. That's where he needed to go for the first down.
There's an example of that big O-line finally firing off the ball. Finally getting some push, and they should. They're so much bigger. You have 2 excellent running backs in the backfield. That has to demonstrate itself here in the second half.
First half, TCU had 66 yards rushing. The cumulative total is not a big deal. They only averaged about 3 yards per rush, and with the type of size advantage you're talking about, they need to get a little more push. Reggie Smith either turned off his microphone or...
I think I just read his lips. The ruling on the field was that it's a first down. I don't know if they're going to take another look at this and see if in fact, if the running back actually got the first.
I like it. Reading lips up here, Jesse.
See that?
Good job.
I got good quarterback eyes, brother.
They move the chains. Will they move them back? We'll see in a moment. The replay booth looked at that third down run by Wayman James, and they're going to rule that he's down a half yard short for the first down.
You need indisputable video evidence to prove where that football is when that elbow touches. To me, that's a tough angle to see. Nonetheless, going for it now, back in that kind of inverted diamond package they got stuffed on earlier in this game on 4th and short.
Red Raiders sending everybody up. They'll go green wide. He's hit the backfield, and he's not close. The Red Raiders get a stop. Replay pushed them back, and Texas Tech's defense finished the job.
They brought the house.
Of course.
They brought everybody. People off the sidelines coming in there.
That is a demoralizing turn of events for TCU. We'll have another
offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Texas Tech makes a mistake, a sudden change.
In the big picture, I'm very impressed with how Texas Tech is playing, though, because I don't think a lot of people gave them a chance in this game. They were picked to finish 8th in the conference, and right now playing very motivated football.
Williams carrying on first down. whistle blows.
Well,
Second down.
Cliff Kingsbury comes in, but we also talked about that. We thought that translated to offense.
Yeah.
We didn't know about their defense playing so well, but Devontae Fields, we haven't called his name a lot.
It's his second tackle tonight. Williams did very nearly find a way to stay on his feet. Mayfield, pressure, throws underneath. It's complete. Bradley has it. Bradley Marquez with the catch.
I don't agree with TCU's defensive plan and how they're using Devontae Fields. Just why is he not rushing? I don't get it. I mean, he is your best pass rusher by far. Use somebody else to spy the quarterback. I mean, it's not Johnny Manziel back there after all.
I don't think he's spying the quarterback.
What is he doing?
I think he's expecting quick game and trying to get his hands out.
He needs to get in the backfield.
I agree.
3rd and 3. TCU needs to stop. They don't get it. First down, Texas Tech inside the 30. Amaro making his 8th catch of the night.
Last year, this defense looked totally different when Devontae Fields was dedicated to rushing the passer.
Red Raiders on the move. Threatening to make this a 3-possession game. Mayfield picked up 1, maybe 2 on the screen. Look at the fox running loose on the field. There's a lot of wildlife here in the South Plains, but now he appears to be a little spooked. He's looking for an exit.
Out, yeah.
Starting to get weird down here. A little bit. Welcome to
Raider Red better be careful. You don't know where that fox is going down the middle. What Mayfield had going for a second was Jason Morrow, and he'd been right on target. They'd had a big game.
But that's an example of those windows that Baker Mayfield has to hit. And a couple times he's had opportunities down the field. It's hard to miss a receiver who's 6'5". That football has to come down. You got to make that throw.
And Texas Tech, if I'm them, I just continue to wear out Jason Morrow. I mean, he's been in the slot the whole game. He's had opportunities every time. He seems like he's open every opportunity. Nobody jamming at the line of scrimmage.
3rd down, you'd think he'd be a target. Pressure on Mayfield, and he will be sacked.
And that's a rookie mistake. And I say that because you got to throw the football away, because now you lose 4 or 5 yards, which is precious yards of field goal range. Now it makes it even longer. Maybe you decide to punt otherwise, but throw that ball away or dump it down and get 4 or 5 yards and make the field goal more accessible.
Well, we heard Sam right out of the break here at halftime talk about how Cliff Kingsbury wanted his young quarterback to pull the trigger, not be afraid. When he sees things, take the window, take the opportunity. That's a missed one right there.
Ryan Buston has been excellent from this distance. 3 out of 4. It's 49 yards within his range. Career long is 50. Trying to put the Red Raiders up by 13. And it is going to slide just outside the upright to his left. And TCU avoids falling deeper into the hole after being stopped. And there's the fox in a box. Is he wearing socks? Can we put them in some locks? Dr. Seuss is loose. The fox, I think, has escaped. Before every home game at Texas Tech, the Saddle Tramps, those are guys wrapping the Will Rogers statue in red crepe paper. Will Rogers statue was dedicated back in 1950 here by Amon G. Carter. Connection? Amon G. Carter is the guy for whom the stadium is named TCU in Fort Worth. Von Boykin to Brandon Carter. First down, J.J. Gaines on the stop.
Brandon Carter has been the most consistent running back, or wide receiver outside tonight for TCU. Working in the slot, he's been a good target for Boykin.
I beg your pardon, he was stopped about a half-yard short, which might send a shiver up the spine of TCU fans after what happened last possession. So it'll be second about a half yard. To the ground. This time there is no dispute. Raymond James does indeed move the chains. There will be no review of that. A 1st and 10 for TCU. Inside the 9-minute mark of the 3rd quarter, and the Frogs haven't scored. And they're lucky Texas Tech didn't catch a deflection and take it the other way. Terrence Bullock on the play.
See here on the replay, exact same play that Brandon Carter had caught just 2 snaps prior. Football just thrown out a little bit too far in front. Got to keep those footballs down, throwing over the middle of the field. That easily could have been picked.
Didn't look like he was real interested in stretching out for that one either, to be honest.
He got worn out by Gary Patterson, did Brandon Carter, for doing a little extracurricular jawing in the first half. TCU looking at a 2nd and 10 from their own 45. They spent virtually the entire night on their own side of the 50. Complete to Cam White. White into Texas Tech territory. White, and if he got inside the 40-yard line before he stepped out of bounds, that'll be the deepest penetration by the Horned Frogs tonight against the Red Raider defense. 16 yards on the pickup. All right, Chris Catalan running through tacklers. This is easily TCU's best drive.
And they need more of this right here, running the football straight at the spread formations, not all bunched up like they've been on 4th and short, but let these difference makers, these workhorses at running back, gain yards, gash this defense.
Boykin. He takes a hit. And it is Sam McGuavin making the tackle.
And they shuffled up the line a little bit. James Dunbar's now in there at left tackle for Collins. Trying to do something. They did it last week too. They're trying to shuffle guys around and trying to put the pieces together, left tackle and right tackle, to find somebody that's willing to block and get nasty.
Well, they did it against LSU too in the second half, when Collins was struggling against Allen from LSU defensive end.
Gray still on his feet. Gray down at about the 27 at Guavin, his 2nd straight tackle.
You know, it's really interesting. Texas Tech has not brought a lot of pressure today at all. I think they're worried about the zone read plays from TCU. With the difference makers they have in running back and a running quarterback, if you guess wrong, you'll get gashed blitzing. If you bring it from the wrong side or you don't get home, the football will get into your secondary very quickly via running or via through the air. And I like what they've done, just staying back all night, keeping the football in front of them.
2nd down and 9. They're showing pressure this time. Boykin gets rid of it, roughs it out, and almost fell into the waiting arms of Deontay Gray. It'll be 3rd and 9. Now, is one of the reasons they're playing it that way because they don't think Boykin can beat him standing back there and throwing the ball?
I don't think it's that. I mean, I think here's the risk right here. You saw zone read action. It forced the safety up, and that allowed Gray to get into the 2nd level. If you sacrifice more players in pressure, then those opportunities like that show up more often for the opposing offense.
And the diamond formation, every time they've run it, it's been run. So it's a good time to mix it up and get a little play action, because Texas Tech is getting aggressive when they get in that formation.
Boykin's going to have to hurry. Play clock inside 5. Screen, Wayman James. James breaks a tackle, gets inside the 20, but he's going to be stopped just a little bit short of where he needed to go for the 1st down.
Even still, that's a great job of TCU, just being more creative, just finding a way to get your running backs the ball. It doesn't always have to be conventionally handing off. Get some screens in, put these guys in different areas, force the defense to tackle.
And it was tough runs after the catch. Yeah. You saw it on the sideline up top. You saw it right there, getting those 5, 6, 7 extra yards after contact after they catch the ball. Jaden
Oberchrome, we mentioned, made 6 field goals last year against the Red Raiders. He'll try to get TCU on the board. And overall for Oberchrome, he's now made 8 straight field goals. And he puts TCU on the board for the 258th consecutive game. So they won't be shut out tonight. And with the way things have gone, they're in pretty good shape, being down just by 7, just over 6 minutes left in the 3rd here in Lubbock. There's the 8th official, one of the Big 12's experimental rules tonight. You get a look at it from his eyes. He lines up in the offensive backfield. Keep an eye on the offensive lineman. He's also in charge of spotting the ball quickly. Here it is, from the perspective, Kelly Dieterding. So you want to be an official. That's what you see. It's easy for us to sit up here high and say, I missed that call.
It's just great that 8 officials out there, though, because they're evolving with the game, aren't they? I mean, as the tempo picks up, I think it's a great addition.
10-3 game. It'll come out to the 25. Baker Mayfield going back to work for a Tech offense that has sputtered. His first pass is broken up. Tech scored 10 points on its first 3 drives. Next 5 possessions, an interception, 3 punts, and a missed field goal.
That's a great point, Reese. And they got to stay out of their own way. 6 penalties tonight for Texas Tech. A lot of those have been on the offense, and a lot of those have come after explosive plays. Got to be smarter.
You know, TCU on the other side, keep packing the middle of the field, taking away Amaro and those short little quick passes.
You know, keep it on the ground. Texas Tech has 6 yards rushing, but that stat can be misleading because those quick little passes function as runs.
And trust me, Cliff Kingsbury doesn't care if he throws it 80 times. I mean, he's going to cut it loose. He'll do what he needs to do to win the game.
So a 3rd and 11 facing the freshman. This is the polar opposite of that 56-53 game in Fort Worth last year, although a lot of points were scored in triple overtime. Mayfield firing into traffic. Let's see if a flag comes out. Wanted one along the Red Raider bench. None forthcoming.
Give Alicia Olabode a lot of credit at safety for TCU. You know, we've been talking all night about Jace Amaro. The best matchup for Baker Mayfield in the slot is just mano-a-mano. Tremendous coverage on that play. I don't think there was any pass interference as a good defensive play.
It's good to hear you coming around to that. Usually you would have called pass interference regardless.
Yeah, you know, I just sometimes you got to give the other team credit. Sometimes.
TCU might have given up all these yards passing. They've only given up 10 points. That's all that matters.
Now they're getting the ball back. Opportunity perhaps to get a tie. Brandon Carter from his 25. Carter, dangerous return. Man, he's got a lot of room. Carter has a blocker. 1 man to beat. Brandon Carter dragged down at the 15, but the Horned Frogs are in the red zone with a golden opportunity after the sensational 59-yard punt return by Brandon Carter.
Take a look at how well TCU sets up the wall here on the left side of the field. You see him take it to left, makes the first guy miss. Look at this wall, this lane right down the sideline. That's cruising for Brandon Carter. 1 guy to miss. Miss. That's a great open field tackle there.
Yes,
You
touchdown saving tackle.
See what happened to Taylor Semank, the punter?
That's not a lot of fun.
You know what, though?
Or put his face in the fan.
Kudos.
Yeah.
But oh, we didn't see the flag. There was a clip. There's a clip that's going to bring it back, and yet another mistake. The mistakes have hurt both teams in terms of penalties, taking away big plays, and instead of having it inside the Texas Tech 20, TCU's pushed all the way back to its own 41.
And that's what's unique about tonight, guys. Like I feel like every time there's been a penalty, it's been so costly because it's come after an explosive play. It's never just been a random foul.
Who'd they call that on, Reese?
They called it on number 84. Check and see. That's a
Dominic Murka.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a tight end.
I was watching.
I didn't see what happened. It wasn't the hit that we showed on the punter. That was not a foul. Boykin takes a big hit as he gets across the 40, and he put the ball on the ground. Oh, what a turn of events this would be for TCU. No, 2nd down signal, so the Horned Frogs retain possession.
The thing you have to remember about Trevon Boykin, he's a converted running back. He's got that running back mentality, and at times, David, I think that's why he's a little bit not careful with the football and the way he runs.
And he definitely fumbled it, but they were fortunate to get back on it. But if you're going to run the option and you get the corner, give it to your running back. I know you are a running back and you're a playmaker, but he had a chance to pitch the ball and get 5 or 6 yards with his running back.
And Stephen Bryant, who missed last year with an injury, saved the day for the moment for TCU. Or at least saved this drive. Boykin down the middle, fired a little bit low. Deontay Gray had found a seam.
Perfect play call.
Last series ago, I talked about the short passes were setting up the double move, and that's exactly what they do here. Slant and go from 2 receivers. You got Deontay Gray going down the middle. You had Brandon Carter down the seam. I think Boykin could have hit either of those guys. You need a better throw. You're not going to get those opportunities all night.
3rd and 7. 58,702 in the house. Most of them wearing red and black, and they're getting loud. Boykin. Pressure from behind, got away from one, did not get away from another one as he slings it out of bounds. Dartwan Bush was draped all over him. Trayvon outside the tackle box. It'll be 4th and 7.
And better job by Boykin keeping his eyes down the field, staying in the pocket. He was given an opportunity for his players to make the play downfield. He's got to see the receiver coming across the formation, but better job playing the quarterback position.
And aggressive defense, man-to-man across the board. And again, Pete Robertson, their bandit linebacker, playing that robber role, spying the quarterback, making sure he doesn't make a big play with his feet outside the pocket.
Ethan Perry. Short punt. Sadale Foster came up, made perhaps a dangerous catch, but it also saved Texas Tech some serious yardage. Running down the middle of the field. Jakeem Grant catches it, and he's knocked down immediately. Lost a couple. Good play out there by Derek Kindred, lost 5, in fact.
Tightening the screws up a little bit, taking away the short passing game, taking away Amaro over the middle. TCU's adjusted. What is Texas Tech going to do now?
And I think you should do that. You should feel okay if you're TCU outside mano-a-mano with the 2 corners you have, so why not be more aggressive inside?
Williams in motion. More pressure. Mayfield gets away. That ball is not secure. Runs into his own man, and he's still on his feet. Across the 25, it'll bring up 3rd and long. Kindred on the stop.
He's been the best running option all year long on offense for Texas Tech, and that's very telling. Good job not forcing the football, though, because he did not have anything to the left side of the field.
You're talking about feeling good about your matchups outside. Eric Ward, 1,000-yard receiver last year.
Best versus best.
No catches tonight for Texas Tech. 3rd down. Mayfield firing, and it's incomplete. Kindred has had an excellent series. He was on the coverage.
And that is excellent, excellent coverage. Man-to-man coverage on the outside. We've talked about the 6'5", 260-plus pound wide receiver tight end. Baker throws it up for you to make a play. This is great coverage right in his hip pocket.
Twice in a row in the last 2 series. Good coverage from the slot defenders.
2 straight 3-and-outs. Now for the Red Raiders, Brandon Carter, who had a 59-yard punt return negated by penalty. Driven back inside his 25. Fumbled the football and muffed it. Carter, now Texas Tech came out of there with it, but Carter was down prior to losing it again. The coverage of Sean Corker, the wide receiver, and Carter fumbled a kickoff against LSU in the opener and couldn't handle that punt cleanly. There are some reports that maybe there had been a horse and a rider prior to that. That's when it became part of Texas Tech tradition. A.J. Catalon gets up close to the 30 and close to the 1st down marker, and the chains are moving.
And on that zone read, Trayvon Boykin did a great job waiting till the last second to allow his running back to take the football, and he even faked like he had it himself. Took some more defenders with him, which allowed that back to get outside.
Trayvon Boykin quickly out to Colby Listenby. Listenby bounced out of bounds by Bruce Jones.
And that's boring, but keep firing it out there. Boykin starting to pick it up.
Boykin's hit 15 of 21. James bouncing off tacklers, still churning his feet. What about the change in demeanor for Trayvon Boykin, Sam?
Reese, pay attention here. He got a little bit of medical attention when he came off the field, was limping, complaining about his left knee, also had some blood on his jersey from his right elbow. Obviously, they're asking a lot from him physically here.
Back to the ground with Wayman James.
And I like what TCU is doing now, giving Texas Tech a little bit of their own medicine. If you notice, their tempo's now picked up, doing their best Oregon impersonation, getting guys lined up, running those zone read plays.
And Texas Tech is missing a lot of tackles right now. They're breaking. TCU's having some success. They're starting to wear them down a little bit. Keep throwing those body blows. Keep getting the ball out of your hands quickly and letting your playmakers do it.
Total yards are exactly even right now, 229 apiece.
And then you got to shoot yourself in the foot again.
False start. Offense number 3. 5-yard penalty. It's 2nd down.
Brandon Carter's having a tough night. Whether it's muffing a punt, whether it's talking trash before the end of the half, or penalties like that, you can drive your head coach crazy.
This staff was a little frustrated with him coming into the game. They wanted him to play within the system more, be a little more disciplined in his route running, not try to make the home run play every time. He's got great ability. Trying to make a play late. Trevon Boykin gets away from the rush. Boykin is surrounded by gray jerseys and gets loose, but there's a flag flying. Boykin still on his feet. He is hit hard out of bounds. The flag appeared to be okay there, but I think Trevon's going to be disappointed to find out about that flag. It's flying at about the 47.
Every time there's an explosive play, it comes back because of a penalty.
Let's see what the call is here.
Holding defense, number 1. 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down.
Not so fast, my friend.
Wow, how about that? Take a look at this. Terrence Bullitt, number 1, playing linebacker.
2, 3, 4, 5. Count them up. Get out of bounds. Get out of bounds. You stop getting the yards, get out of bounds, preserve yourself.
30-yard pickup. Threw more on for the penalty, but now a false start.
Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
And we talked about, guys, the importance of playing good red zone defense in the Big 12, forcing field goals, not touchdowns. Let's see now, because TCU's done a great job all night. When Texas Tech offensively has been in their fringe area, how does Texas Tech's defense now stand up with their backs to the wall?
Final minute of the third quarter. Looks as if we're going to have a tight fourth quarter here in Lubbock. TCU trying to get even. Intercepted! Picked off! Going the other way is Jackson Richards. An offensive lineman makes a huge play, stuffing out the TCU drive.
We talked about the undersized defensive line of Texas Tech. To counter that, they got to stunt and move guys around. There's a nose tackle at only 270 pounds, Jackson Richards. There you see the twist around outside, and the twist takes him right into the throwing lane for the screen. And a great job, great catch by the big man. That is a huge, critical turnover. And turnovers, guys, something this defense was terrible at a year ago. They only had 11 a year ago, 3rd worst in the nation. They harped on this every day in practice. Their goal is to get 3 a game. That's already their 2nd. That couldn't have come at a better time.
So Trevon Boykin, who's just getting things started, throws his 2nd interception of the night. Baker Mayfield now running. He's inside the 45, and we're winding down in the final seconds of the 3rd quarter. And devastating turnover.
And that's not Boykin's fault. I mean, it's a screen play. He's looking at his receiver, trying to buy some time. Just a perfect defensive play calling. Got defensive tackles coming around. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You can't even see that.
Thank you, David. Thank you. You love it.
Mayfield going to take a shot. He can get it off. Buys himself some time. Directing traffic. Firing in. Barrett had it in his hands and couldn't hold on.
He is a walk-on true freshman. Decision-making now at a premium. You cannot force footballs. This thing far from over.
Barrett said, thank God you finally threw my way. I want some of that.
The 4th quarter coming from Lubbock. Not exactly high scoring, but it's tight and it is intense. Who says every entertaining game in the Big 12 has to be a wild offensive shootout? Going to the 4th quarter in Lubbock, Reese Davis, Jesse Palmer, David Pollock, Samantha Ponder. Glad you're with us. Texas Tech starts the 4th with a 3rd and 2. The freshman quarterback, Baker Mayfield, throwing into traffic and a big-time hit delivered by Jason Barrett on Jay Samaro, who's taken a few of them tonight.
If I was Jay Samaro, I'd go have a talk with my walk-on true freshman quarterback and say, hey, dude, if you're going to throw me the football over the middle of the field, please don't be late.
And I'm just glad we didn't get an overreaction. Helmet to helmet or 15-yard penalty. Good clean hit. He threw that ball in tight space. He could have really held on to it.
You can't have incidental helmet-to-helmet contact, but Barrett did a good job getting below the head and neck area. And on a 4th down, Off the deflection, it's intercepted, and Derek Kindred's had a sensational second half on defense. Third interception of the night for the freshman quarterback.
Accuracy has been an issue for Baker Mayfield tonight, particularly when throwing over the middle of the field. He's been high. And again on this throw, a little bit too up in the air, the ball gets tipped. And Kindred, who's had an unbelievable game tonight, playing in the slot, makes a huge interception.
You don't really need to catch that. You're going to lose 10 yards.
Stat pattern, though.
But I think it's a natural instinct. But TCU's defense deserves a lot of credit for rebounding and keeping them in it, because their offense at times have been bad.
Painful.
How about that? How about getting the turnover, giving the football right back to your offense after that interception by Boykin on the screen?
Boykin back to work. Firing. Carter has it. He's close to the first down marker, and he's a little slow to get up.
And I like the way Boykin responds right after that pick, comes right back out, throws a strike to Brandon Carter on the sidelines. You know, we saw him, he was a different quarterback. He was struggling a little bit at the end of the first half, couldn't really pick himself up. Being a good leader right now by example with his play. Nice throw.
1st and 10. Boykin into Texas Tech territory.
Is it down, though?
He's got to lead. They marked it down.
Well, ball security has become an issue here in the last couple possessions. We talked about the smarter team that wins this game in the second half. Penalties and turnovers.
Boykin's pass is complete. Cameron Eccles-Looper, freshman from Auburn, Alabama. His dad, Curtis, on the staff here at TCU, a highly regarded young receiver.
Just came in for Carter when he got banged up on the sidelines. Give him a touch.
Aaron Green, the Nebraska transfer, a short gain on 1st down.
I like it, though, because you got to keep this defense honest. And if you want to set up play-action passing opportunities or quarterback run opportunities, you have to commit to handing the football off to your running backs in these zone read plays.
Well, inside the 40-yard line, Jaden Oberchrome has a big leg. You have to get close to the 1st down for them to feel great about field goal range. They can come up a little bit short. They're thinking touchdown right now. Boykin might have been a tad late. Good coverage on the outside by Bruce Jones. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Great job on the coverage on the outside. Look at the effort, too, to dive. Stick the hand out there, give the body up. Bruce Jones.
Scrappy.
Nice.
Guys, have a look at the 3rd down conversion percentage for TCU.
It ain't good.
1 out of 11. They haven't converted a 3rd down in the second half.
Probably going to go for it on 4th down, but I don't think you need to get all of it.
Expect Texas Tech to spy the quarterback again here.
Pressure. Boykin tries to get away. He'll get back maybe to the line of scrimmage. Dartwan Bush there. It'll bring up 4th down for the Frogs.
I said earlier how early this season Texas Tech's defensive linemen have struggled in one-on-one pass rush situations, and that's why they've had to blitz more often. Tonight, these guys are doing a very good job winning their one-on-one battles against the bigger TCU offensive line.
Let's see what Gary Patterson has decided to do. He's going to try a long field goal from Jaden Oberchrome. 55-yard attempt. Career long is 53. Oberchrome puts the boot to it. Looked good for a while, but it sailed off at the end. And another TCU opportunity goes by the boards, and Texas Tech holds on to its 10-3 lead. Red Raiders have it when you come back in the 4th. Who's the better defensive lineman in the country? Baker Mayfield, the freshman, firing. He is now 3 for his last 11 for 11 yards and an interception, as TCU has been able to slow down the true freshman quarterback.
And the gauntlet's been laid down by TCU's defense. They're going to make the windows a lot smaller for Baker Mayfield to throw into. It's going to come down to the walk-on true freshman quarterback. He's going to have to be accurate enough and win this game for the Red Raiders.
That's Chucky Hunter, who's down. An oddity in this game, guys. There have been 5 turnovers. Nobody has converted any of the turnovers into points. Last year, turnovers the reason that TCU was pushed to overtime. They had 3, Tech didn't have any. TCU ended up losing in triple overtime. Mayfield, incomplete. On the subject of Tuitt and pass defense, an interception in the end zone, that was the closest thing to what Pollock did against South Carolina.
I was very impressed with what a 6'6", 312-pound defensive end did in Ann Arbor that night, but Pollock's to me still was pretty unbelievable.
That was nice, though.
It hurts me to say that.
He went down and got it with the fingertips. He was a bigger boy, too. That was a lot more impressive.
3rd down and 10. Mayfield's had some struggles in the second half and is not going to get any better. He is sacked back to the 25. John Kuntz was the first guy back there, and it'll be 4th and a mile, and TCU will have yet another opportunity on offense as we go inside 12 minutes.
You know, and I wonder if Baker Mayfield, at the speed of the game, is maybe not picking up right now. He needs to throw that outside whip route to Grant in the slot. He doesn't necessarily have depth to get the first down, but put the football in the hands of your playmaker. Let him go try to get it with his legs.
TCU doing a better job of pushing the pocket back to him, too. He's not the tallest guy in the world. Make him throw over top of some of that beef.
Saw Brandon Carter shaken up after a catch a moment ago, but he's back. Field punt. He makes the catch at the 30. Carter had a 59-yard punt return called back by penalty, and he's right down the sidelines by himself for the touchdown. Now, did you guys think that perhaps he signaled for a fair catch at the last second?
I actually did. I was waiting for the fair catch to be called and caught, and I'm wondering if some fans.
So the fans
don't think that either.
Let's see what he does here.
Yeah,
he was gaining his balance.
No,
Seriously.
No. I mean,
his right hand was.
I don't know.
See? No. That's not a fair.
That left hand, the left hand, right hand was okay. The left hand.
How about TCU setting up the left wall again, just like they did on Brandon Carter's last punt return
Guys,
as well?
you never lost your balance and tried to use your hands to gain it back?
Well,
that was kind of middle ground.
The one thing I'll say is TCU had that one so well blocked, I'm not sure it would have mattered anyway. He was untouched, 69 yards, this time not called back. Well, the officials are
and let's give him
talking.
Let's give Brandon Carter kudos. He's had a bit of a rough night tonight. Maybe atoning for it right there. He's had 2 unbelievable punt returns.
And just to clarify, calling a fair catch is not on the list of reviewable plays, so they can't send that upstairs.
So you guys think that should be called back?
The TCU punt receiver gave an invalid fair catch signal. This causes the ball by rule to become dead where it is caught. However, there is no foul for delaying game due to the error in recognizing the lateness of this signal. TCU will keep the ball at the spot of the catch, 1st and 10.
Wow. I want to compliment Reggie Smith and his crew there. I think they did a fantastic job in figuring this out.
Agreed. I mean, yeah.
That's not a fair catch to me.
That is to me. I mean,
if you put your hand above and move it side to side, it was an invalid fair catch signal. It's what he was saying. It wasn't valid, but he put it up for deception. We invite you to take a ride along with the masked rider as he led the Red Raiders out on to the field tonight. They were charging down the field early. The guns have been up, but they've been firing blanks since the early part of the game. But Texas Tech's holding on to a 10-3 lead. Trevon Boykin not down, still on his feet and gets back close to the line of scrimmage. All right, Chris, the Texas Tech defense granted the reprieve by the invalid fair catch signal that negated the touchdown return by Brandon Carter, and now they're looking at a 3rd and long.
On the last couple of 3rd downs, Texas Tech has spied Trevon Boykin with a defender. That means there's one less player in coverage in the back end. On this upcoming 3rd down, if they do it again, Trevon Boykin has to be able to find the one-on-one matchup and exploit it.
The Achilles heel for the Frogs has been 3rd down tonight. Just 1 of 12. Boykin firing back shoulder, was trying to get it to Cam White. And did he make the grab? What a play and a catch by Cam White.
There's a great job of finding a nice one-on-one matchup outside with a much bigger physical receiver. And I love the throw. Back shoulder, throwing the wide receiver open. And what a snag
with
by
the
Cam
mitts.
White. Wow.
Sucking it in and elbow hitting.
Big
Texas
play
Tech
when you need
confused
it.
right now.
More flags as B.J.
Ouch.
Catalan gets it, and then after the whistle, took a shot. Boykin went in there. That's Donnell Wesley that they're pulling away. Terrence Bullitt trying to calm him down to make sure we don't have any dead ball foul penalties. They're gonna get Wesley to the side and get him chilled a little bit.
Hey, just because TCU's new in the Big 12.
Prior to the snap, illegal substitution, defense, 12 men in the formation, 5-yard penalty, it's first down.
I was going to say, just because these are two new quote-unquote rivals in the Big 12, because TCU just joined last year, don't think this thing won't get chippy. These guys all know each other from playing high school football. A lot of familiarity, a lot of them are buddies, a lot of bragging rights on the line.
Wesley just threw Catalan like I throw my 5-year-old son. Literally just sing.
And another flag flies.
Goodness gracious.
And false start.
False start, offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, first down.
They've shuffled around their offensive line, putting different guys in at left tackle. That's forced the left guard, Jamel Knapp, the backup. That's the second time now in this game. He's had a false start right after the referees blow the play lock. I don't know why.
It's 5 of them on TCU. 5 false starts tonight. 10 penalties overall. Running room for Catalan. Down around the 35.
He's still mad about getting tossed. Catalan came through that hole with some authority, didn't he?
That he did. Catalan has been kept in check, only 34 yards tonight. Texas Tech has only 13 yards in the second half, but TCU hasn't been able to convert their 300-plus into a touchdown yet. Just 3 points for the Frogs, but threatening again on the fringe area. Plenty of running room for Catalan, who tried to spin off the last tackle in the secondary. Picks up about 8 on first down.
We've documented TCU's offensive line struggles, but look at the numbers in the box, guys. This is stealing. There's 4 guys in the box for Texas Tech to stop the run. That should never happen. It should be easy 4, 5, 6, 7 yards a pop.
So Texas Tech has had success all night crowding the line of scrimmage, putting a spy on Boykin. Why to get away from it?
Going to call it 2nd and 3. Pick up a 7 rather than 8. Doesn't matter as James moves the sticks and drives the pile close to the red zone.
I think that size differential up front for TCU, I think it's starting to show itself. It looks like Texas Tech defensively getting worn down a little bit. Guys getting blown off the ball. You see again, only 3 down linemen. That outside linebacker, Pete Robertson, he's only 225 pounds. So these are smaller bodies for TCU to push around.
TCU dominant in the running game. Texas Tech has had to stop in the clutch all night. Back to the ground, James. Short game.
There's been an attitude shift by TCU in the running game as well. We're not seeing so much perimeter stuff and fancy stuff. They're not cute. Right now, it is all downhill.
Well, as we head toward the 7.5-minute mark, 8th play of the drive coming up for TCU. This is the one the Frogs desperately need to put into the end zone. Don't want to have to settle for a field goal here. 2nd and 8. Boykin. Could have been worse. Spun his way back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and long coming.
That was Dartwan Bush on the play right there. He's had a monster game so far. 2nd team All Big 12 a year ago. Talked about these smaller D linemen that got to step up and win. We've called his name a lot tonight.
What do you do here? Boykin's had some issues in the passing game. You don't want to settle for a field goal here.
No, and I think you find the matchup outside. Expecting again, someone robbing in the middle of the field.
But take care and protect the field goal because you have an excellent kicker in Jaden Oberchrome. Take care of the football first. Catalan, forget the field goal. Touchdown, Horned Frogs. 17 yards for B.J. Catalan, and now Oberchrome can tie the game at 10.
Great patience, great cut. Sometimes 3rd and long, backs try to get upfield and get as much as they can to get the first down. Watch Catalan stick his foot in the ground, cut upfield. Great piece of running on 3rd and long.
And a perfect play call too, David. There were no defenders on the left side of the line. They ran that right into the soft spot of the defense.
He made that safety look silly, though.
Oberchrome never missed
boys.
an extra point. He still hasn't. And with 6:28 left here in Lubbock, Catalan might be exhausted. We might have a long way to go. These two teams played triple overtime last year, and we're all tied up at 10, getting a little late in the 4th. Jaden Oberchrome pounds one out of the back of the end zone. You know, that drive that TCU just put together, I think showed a little gumption finishing up here with B.J. Catalan.
And they're taking advantage of numbers. Split the screen in half. 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders over here. Only one to the left side, and that's exactly where they're going to run the football. This offensive line now taking over in the second half. Part of it because they're being more physical. Part of it because they're running to where the defenders are not.
And a big part of it because this TCU defense keeps giving the ball back to their offense by playing great D. But get some oxygen, young fella. You deserve it.
You're gonna need it. You know, they're gonna keep riding.
Because even if it's a 2-minute drill situation, TCU's gonna run the ball every single play.
Texas Tech has only 1 first down in the second half. That drive started after the touchdown was called back on the invalid fair catch signal, which was debated up here. But any waving by a player of the receiver team,
that's good. He didn't wave.
He waved twice.
He extended one arm and had another one above his head.
I'm sorry, is that a wave nowadays?
Yeah.
That's a wave? No.
I think it was properly called.
That is a wave.
It was properly called by Reggie Smith, man in the white hat.
Y'all done lost y'all mind.
Reasonable minds can differ. I'm just not sure you're being reasonable about this. Any valid or invalid signal stops it. You can't return it afterwards. So the call was it was an invalid signal because he didn't wave. And here's the play we're talking about. That Carter took it back 69 yards for a touchdown. That should be the joke. Okay, see, there's a little.
There's two waves. I'm sorry. When you run, do you guys not use your arms? Y'all just run like this?
Who catches the football and keeps their balance, waving both arms like that?
Dude, he extends his right and raises his left.
He's a way
David.
better athlete than I am.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't do that to keep my balance.
I guess you guys don't ever move your hands when you're keeping your balance. I guess you just stand there and stay planted.
You're wrong.
Well, the delay was, we believe, a fan with a laser pointer. Perhaps he was trying to point the Red Raider offense in the direction of a first down. They only have 1 in the second half. And Baker Mayfield took a hit after delivering that short pass, and a true freshman walk-on, and now being helped off the field.
And guess who laid the hit? Devontae Fields. Look at the top of the screen, coming hard off the edge. Kind of gets thrown by his tackle.
He got tackled and he got a foot to the
wrong part of his body.
Yeah.
And Mayfield struggled in the second half. And he took that shot and is being helped toward the sideline. So now the man that many believe would be the starting quarterback this year for Texas Tech, another true freshman, Davis Webb. Webb is a freshman from Prosper, Texas, a scholarship guy who was beaten out by Mayfield.
And he's pretty good. And I've watched him on tape. He operates in this offense. He's more mobile than Baker Mayfield, even though he's a little bit taller. This offense does not change now with Davis Webb in the game.
So expect him to get his feet wet by running him right away. Don't let him air it out. He's probably quarterback draw right away.
The other freshman quarterback, Webb. Why not let him get his feet wet by finding Jason Morrow? That's a good idea.
Or just throw a seed.
Throw it to the big guy.
Right off the bench, and I like the thought process. Go to your best player offensively over the middle of the field.
Well, many believe that Webb would beat out Michael Brewer, who's a sophomore, who's had a back injury. Now, he was the most experienced quarterback on the roster on his 3rd and short. Tech keeps it on the ground, and pushing ahead is DeAndre Washington.
Here's an advantage Davis Webb has over Baker Mayfield. David, earlier you had mentioned that Mayfield struggles seeing things over the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Davis Webb's legitimately 6'4". He's not going to have an issue finding shallow crossing routes that Cliff Kingsbury and his staff like calling over the middle of the field.
Second first down of the second half for the Red Raiders. Clock headed toward 5 minutes to play, and how about throwing Davis Webb into this cauldron? Tie game. Back to the ground with Washington. Washington, best run of the night for Texas Tech, gets into TCU territory.
And did you see how Davis Webb was at the line of scrimmage, audibling on the play? He's another guy that in high school played in this system, very good at the line of scrimmage, understands his responsibilities.
16-yard run. Webb being pressured, and he'll just throw it away, 2nd and 10.
And I know it sounds weird, but it's always so hard defensively because you got in a good rhythm. You talk to Gary Patterson every time on the sidelines. You know exactly what you're doing and what plan has worked. And now you throw in a new quarterback. They run a little zone read. You know, I mean, just change it up a little bit on you when you've had everything going your way. It makes it a little bit difficult.
Where is Jay Samaro lined up right now? In the slot.
Well, he's a horse. You can see him. Good Lord.
We can see him.
Webb, a little bit late, but Washington has the grab. Washington down the sideline. Washington headed toward the end zone. That ball was deflected, but welcome to the show, Davis Webb. There is a flag down on the field. Is sitting at the 26-yard line.
James McFarland gets the tip.
The play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct by the Texas Tech bench. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff. Try for point.
It's okay to be a little bit lucky as well. After James McFarland got the tip, nice job by DeAndre Washington on the concentration drill. Tightroping the sidelines. That's the 2nd touchdown pass. They've only thrown 2 tonight, both on swing passes to running backs. We've talked about all the weapons at wide receiver. It's been the backs with the most explosive plays in the passing game.
Look at Marquez, too, fighting. A little bit of holding, but it's all good with no flag. I tell you what, Chris Hackett looked like... Did he carry that ball over the goal line?
I never understand that. Why guys don't just drop it after you cross the back line. What a bizarre turn of events. Now here's Reggie Smith.
After further review, the ball carrier dropped the ball at the half-yard line prior to breaking the plane of the end zone goal line. Therefore, the ball will be placed at the half-yard line. The ball was declared dead in the end zone. Therefore, it's at the half-yard line. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct by the Texas Tech bench. That'll be a 15-yard penalty. Texas Tech keeps the ball 1st and 10 from the 15 and a half.
Had a TCU player jumped on the ball and gotten the immediate recovery that we know replay can afford, it would have been different.
That's a dumb rule.
Well, and it's not, I mean, which TCU defender would have jumped on the ball?
When they signal touchdown.
Yeah, you see the field judge right here, put both hands in the air, so.
That should be a touchback, and that should be TCU's football. That's a dumb rule.
Ball was declared dead.
He recovered it. Was that the alternate?
All right, new life for TCU's defense right here.
Do you not agree with me with that rule? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
You fumble the ball, it goes into the end zone. You don't pick it up. Why do you deserve the football back?
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's an unusual thing. You watch the game long enough, you'll see something you haven't seen before. We've seen it bounce out of bounds and different things, but just lying there after dropping it, a little unusual. Kingsbury said his team might have to score again, so they'll try as we work toward 4.5 minutes to go.
You know, we've seen this offense kind of dedicate itself back to the running game. I think this offensive line, LaRaven Clark, Alfredo Morales, their 2 biggest, most physical, and most experienced linemen on the left side.
2nd down and 6. Davis Webb firing, and we have another flag flying. It's at the 15-yard line. Kevin White.
Holding, offense number 75, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
And I'm just thinking to myself that Davis Webb is a freshman who lost his job, and he's got a huge opportunity to go out and possibly win it back by putting something together, but you can't make a big mistake like that. He almost threw it to the other team. He's still got to be smart with the football.
How about the offense stop going backwards? You drop the ball on the half-yard line, you have an unsportsmanlike bench penalty, and now you got that penalty, you're moving yourself out of field goal range.
Back to Washington. Washington hitting the backfield. He struggles to get back to the line of scrimmage and picked up a couple. First guy to make contact was Kevin White.
So, if you're Davis Webb, you've literally only been in this game for 1 series and a half. You cannot take a sack right now. Points at a premium. There's going to be under 4 minutes to go when TCU gets it back. Whatever you do, no turnover, no sack.
That's why you probably think about running the football or running a screen, a draw, something like that safe.
Instead, they'll throw it, and they'll throw toward the end zone. Out there is Marquez, Bradley Marquez for the touchdown. So you know what that odd play functioned to do?
Wow.
It functioned to give TCU less time.
Yeah, it did.
They were able to bleed a little more clock.
Conservative, forget that. Air it out, young fella. Drops a dime in great coverage. One of the best throws of the night.
And all night long, they've had no success throwing outside against those two excellent cornerbacks. Bradley Marquez, their most physical receiver, probably best go route runner, comes up big.
Bradley Marquez is a Met during the summer, and he just had a home run play. Short porch, not the longest play in the world, but good enough to put the Red Raiders on top 17-10. Now TCU will try to answer in the final. Webb off the bench after Baker Mayfield was shaken up. Mayfield has struggled in the second half. Webb's hit 3 of 4, including the touchdown.
So what do? I mean, if you need the football back to seal this game or to win the game, which guy plays?
B.J. Catalan will down it. TCU will have it on the 25. It has been a bizarre fourth quarter. Brandon Carter took this punt back 69 yards for a touchdown, but it was brought back because of an invalid fair catch call that blew it dead. TCU went on to score, and then DeAndre Washington dropped the football before he crossed the goal line. It was blown dead. Texas Tech got pushed back, but they still were able to score anyway. The Webb to Marquez pass. So these two odd plays that have called touchdowns back, both of them really go for naught as the offenses are able to pick up the slack.
Now, if you're TCU down 7, 3:48 to go, all 3 timeouts, that is an eternity. You don't have to be in crazy rush. Get into the best play possible.
And I think you even still run the football. That's what you've had the most success with.
I'm with it.
And no running backs for Trevon Boykin. Boykin going to take a shot. Got a man out there, and not able to hold on this time was Cam White, who made a great grab on a 3rd down play earlier, and Boykin is grabbing his foot.
Starting to cramp up.
Yeah.
Maybe both players.
White shaken up, and Boykin with the injury to Paul Hall needs to be able to stay in the game.
Yeah.
He can.
It's a heck of a throw.
Yeah, under duress too, and they're going to need Boykin to make some throws here. I mean, remember that big back shoulder throw to Cam White kept that drive alive on their last touchdown. They're going to need him to fit the football into some tight windows. Lots of empty sets, trying to get all their options out. 5 receivers live.
Boykin too high. It'll be 3rd and 10.
He's limping around pretty good.
You start feeling it in your legs, it starts affecting your accuracy.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not able to plant and drive off that back leg. Texas Tech, I'll tell you what, this crowd right now, this is different than what it's been all game long. All of a sudden, players are into it, hopping up and down on the sidelines. They're feeling it here in Lubbock.
Big 3rd down conversion on the last possession. Just over 3.5 to go. TCU would hate to have to punt this ball away.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Texas Tech, 30-second timeout.
And Texas Tech will have one timeout left. Wanted to make sure they had that right defensive call here late. 3rd and 10 for TCU, trailing by 7, just over 3.5 to go. Now it's going to be 3rd and 15 as B.J. Catalan starts early.
Offense number 23, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
We talked about the crowd noise picking up here. I think it's making it a lot more difficult for Trevon Boykin's teammates to hear him in his cadence at the line of scrimmage. We've seen a couple false starts tonight from TCU.
6 of them, in fact.
This crowd playing, it's a factor right now.
11 penalties on the Frogs, 10 on the Red Raiders. 3rd and 15. Boykin firing down the middle and knocked away. It'll be 4th down. Terrence Bullitt on the coverage.
You just can't say enough about Texas Tech defensively, how they've played. I think played a lot better than their expectations, what people might have expected up front on the defensive line, the front 7. Making some plays now in the back end as well, contesting throws and forcing a punt.
TCU has all 3 timeouts, so plenty of time here to go ahead and punt it away. But the clock is now an enemy of the Frogs. Carlos Thompson deep to return the punt. There's another flag.
Prior to the snap, ball start, offense number 40, 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Coach has got to be pulling his hair out, man.
Because these are
that
the
has
penalties.
nothing to do with the crowd either,
No.
by the way. That's just, you got to be smart.
Well, it takes no effort to get a false start penalty. I mean, that's all mental. And that's why those types of penalties drive coaches nuts.
Yeah, Ethan Perry needs a big one here because the other problem is going to be field position. Even if the Frogs can stop the Red Raiders and get it back for one more shot. It's a relatively short kick that did Thompson touch that ball?
I thought he did.
There's a flag down on the field again. Stephen Bryant grabbed it. The question is whether Thompson touched it. Why not? We've had everything else weird happen tonight.
Kick catch interference. Kicking team number 16. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down, TCU.
Okay, so that call is going to make it a moot point.
Boy, the punt team's been interesting, but how was this kick catch interference? Guys,
I agree.
That is incredibly terrible.
I agree, David.
He went out of his way. A returner's running full speed ahead. He didn't even hit him.
And well, he's got to give him that yard. You know, the semicircle around him, and he was well outside that boundary. Seemed to me. I don't know if he ever got close to it. And it also appeared to hit Thompson.
That's such
a tough break for TCU. Now on the ground is Williams. Williams trying to put this thing away inside the 20-yard line. And now TCU says it has the football. Was it blown dead? They're calling it dead and on the ground. Chris Hackett came out of there with it, but not before Williams' forward progress had stopped.
He fumbled that ball.
Look how fast Texas Tech's getting a
Get a
play
snap
run.
before you give him a chance to look at it.
That's it. It's good strategy.
Form tackle. And down for 3 minutes to go.
Wow.
Reese, you said it a second ago. It's gotten weird tonight.
It has been weird.
It just has. Fox is running on the field. We've seen, phantom fair catch signals.
Guys, you need to go back and show that run by Williams, because it looked like he was fighting for extra yards, and it looked like the ball had come out.
Take away, when you have a timeout, TCU just used his first timeout. Let's have a look at that play by Kenny Williams.
I'm not sure you'll be able to see it from this angle. Ball's out.
Yeah, from that angle.
The back angle is a little bit better.
Wow.
When does he touch the ground? Now he's on the ground. It's hard.
The ball's already out.
Yeah, it's hard
This
to
angle
see it come free. The other angle, but it's been a.
This is the best angle, I think.
You see Hackett coming in.
Ball's out.
Ball's out there. Yeah.
Ball's
Yeah.
out. Ball's free, and I don't think there's any way that they've blown the whistle and stopped the play before then either. So
There's some crazy calls in this game, boys.
It's gotten.
Well, they've already run another play,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, that play's gone, right? Unless the ref said something before.
Apparently, I would imagine if they're having an official review, they have to have stopped it ahead of time. Because once the ball snapped, the next play, you can't go back. I don't know if they buzzed down or if they did. We're told now that the replay booth did call down and wanted to look at the previous player where Kenny Williams was ruled down. So the last play we saw after that didn't count. That's what we're being told now.
This is
huge.
Boy, it would almost be justice for TCU after the last call on the punt return.
Hey, how about a good thing we have an extra official out there tonight, right?
Yeah, that ball's out clearly.
8 of them. Yeah,
and you know what? Give this defense credit. You know, time and time again. You know, earlier in the game, Trevon Boykin throws an interception on a slip screen to the receiver. They come right back out and get a pick back.
They're going to take a look at his knee. He's still off the ground there.
The ball's already out. You can see it over here.
Yeah.
The ball's right there.
Yeah.
It's already out.
Yeah.
I think the other angle showed that you can see from that angle that there's still air between Williams and the ground. It's the other angle where you can see definitively that the ball's out. Now,
can they
the replay, see if the replay official rules that indisputable video evidence.
Can they call back and return that, or review that punt, catch interference?
Guys, if they get the football back, again, TCU's defense in sudden change situations tonight, it's been pretty outstanding.
They have. And even if they do get the ball back, the play that David was alluding to, the one that we didn't quite see, kick-catch interference, where it appeared that the punt hit Carlos Thompson and then was recovered by TCU. That's a big loss in field position. They would have had it in Texas Tech territory. We're not sure they're going to get it now. It has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was that Kenny Williams was down prior to the fumble.
So what are you guys saying? What do you think?
Here comes the call.
I'm sticking with what I said.
Okay.
I think it's a fumble.
Well, and if that's the case, and listen, coaches up in the booth are talking to Cliff Kingsbury right now saying, hey, you know, we're watching the same replays. This might get overturned. You got to get your defense now ready to go back on the field and go win you this football game.
And their defense has played great.
They sure have.
I mean, they're, as much as the talk about Cliff Kingsbury and bringing back his air raid offense, it's been a great defensive display for Texas Tech.
Yeah, look at him shaking his head. He's seen everything we've seen tonight. This is a weird game.
Well, and think about what they had to do. They had to score twice.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Wow. That means that they did not have enough video evidence to make it indisputable, and that is a
huge breaks in a row.
Huge break for the Red Raiders.
Huge in a row. Okay, so if you're Texas Tech now and you've been given 2 of these chances, your third life, now you got to capitalize. Hold on to the football, score some points. A field goal right now makes it a 2-possession game.
To capitalize is you run the ball a couple times, make TCU use their timeouts, and take a field goal and walk out of here.
Yeah, and exactly. No more balls on the ground here.
Ground, short gain for Williams. Third down coming.
You know, and I like the decision, too. Davis Webb in the game at quarterback. And I don't know if Baker Mayfield's healthy enough to go back in. But this offense has looked different with Davis Webb in the game these last couple series.
Okay, now, if it hasn't gotten strange enough, our stats crew is just pointing out here, if the play where Williams was hit in the backfield didn't count so they could review the previous play, we believe this should be second down. It should be second down now instead of third down.
I can't keep track of all the weirdness tonight. I really can't. Like, I'm trying to go through in my mind all the crazy stuff that's happened tonight, and I'm speechless.
The marker on the field says third down. We'll try to get some clarity on that for you, but can't review a fumble after the previous play. Davis Webb is going to take a timeout. So it would stand to reason then that the next play after the long run didn't count as a down. So we have third down on the field and officially. And we'll see if anybody's able to correct this.
And if that stands, that gives TCU more time if they get the football back to potentially tie this game if Texas Tech were to come away with no points here.
But based on the opinions that you two guys have of those two plays, you almost feel like the justice would be served if there was something that bounced TCU's way. But you want to get it right. Look, these guys are doing the best they can. There have been bizarre situations.
They've made a couple of great calls tonight,
Yeah,
too.
they have. No question about it. But a couple late that have been a little questionable. Now officially a third down. In the backfield and trying to get it to the middle of the field to line up Ryan Buston.
This is big right here. I mean, this could win the game for your team right here.
Okay, we have some clarification, and as crazy as this night is, this actually makes some sense. It is fourth down, and the reason it's fourth down is because they ran a play and didn't review the fumble prior to a play being run, which means, in essence, they didn't review the play in time.
Are we in the Matrix? Like, is this the future? Like, is this the present? Like, where are we?
You know, I pride myself on making this very clear. I hope everybody followed that.
I feel like we're in the room with the architect.
As Buston goes in to try to make it a two-possession game. He's 1 for 2 on the night. He missed from 49. This one's from 37. He's made a 39-yarder. Buston puts it up, and he puts it through, and it's a two-possession. (20 to 10 with 2:43 to go. If Catalan takes a knee, he'll come out to the 25. So Trevon Boykin, he's had good moments tonight. A couple he'd like to have back. Needs to get his team down the field quickly. He'll have to try to score, get the onside kick. For the last season plus, he's averaged more than 10 yards every time he carries.
The third string back, Clement, has had 200 yards. 2 games played, they've had 3 running backs each go for over 100 yards.
Boykin to Carter. Carter trying to make the play. It's a short game. Clock keeps ticking.
And this is a tough spot for TCU's offense. They've had a hard enough time when they could have balance, but when it's been obvious passing situations, it's been a struggle. They got to find some plays down the field beyond the first down mark.
That's what they haven't had. 0 explosive plays on offense tonight.
Boykin firing down the middle. It is caught with Darius Brown. It'll be a first down. Clock will stop and move the chains. Just over 2 minutes to play.
Texas Tech has been physical all over the field defensively, up front, in the back end as well. Flying around, making hits.
TCU needs a little urgency. They need a little more giddy up as the clock is winding. That 8th official spots it and gets out of there. Boykin to the outside, complete. It's Cam White, who would have been better off to head to the sideline.
No doubt.
Meanwhile,
Davis Webb working on the victory play. He hasn't done it yet this year. This is exciting stuff. Got to make sure you got it down.
we got a little over 90 seconds to play. See if they get the ball back. Boykin. That's a first down. Clock will stop long enough to move the chains. Aaron Green out of the backfield. Frogs have to move quickly, and they've got somebody down. That's White now. Now he's up. Clock is working. And it's ready to go. 120. TCU needs yards in chunks. Texas Tech content to let them inch their way down the field with a 2-possession lead. Boykin racing for the edge, gets a first down, needs to get out of bounds, and he does. 1:09 to play.
You know, spinning this thing forward, how great is it that Texas Tech's defense is playing at this level? When you consider the only 2 quarterbacks you have right now are both true freshmen. You may have some growing pains on offense as you go, but in a game where you only had 10 points, with about 6 minutes to go in the game. Your defense could keep you in this one. They're going to need that D all season long.
I wonder what their quarterback situation is going to look like moving forward, too.
Boykin has 101 yards rushing. That's TCU's first 100-yard runner since 2011. Little consolation unless the Frogs can pull off a miracle. And that was a catch, so the clock's going to continue to run.
You know, we talked about the wide open Big 12 coming up. I mean, Texas struggling, a loss against BYU. Oklahoma's had issues on offense this year. You know, Oklahoma State, they have some distractions to deal with off the field. How does that affect their play on it?
Does Oklahoma have issues, or is it just a ground and pound team now? This is throwback, man.
Well, Trevor
300 yards plus rushing the last 2 weeks. They haven't done that since like '97.
It's going to be a fun conference to watch.
It's time now for tonight's Wrangler 5-star play of the game, and here's the difference maker, Davis Webb. Disappointed when he didn't win the quarterback job earlier off the bench, throwing the touchdown pass to Bradley Marquez. Put Texas Tech up. Under a minute to go. Boykin firing, lofting it. DJ Catalan. Got a little alligator arms there. It'll be 4th down and 6.
Little alligator arms is right, man. You got to go up and make a play.
Davis Webb's going to get an opportunity here to practice that victory play.
Yeah, well, here,
just doing it on the side.
When's the last time you remember our Wrangler 5-star player of the game only throwing 4 passes, 1 touchdown, but it was the circumstance in which he was placed, and he came through cool, calm, and collected. Another true freshman coming through for the Red Raiders when they needed it the most. Last chance for TCU to stay in the game. Boykin lofting. And it's going to go incomplete, and Texas Tech is going to go to 3-0, and Cliff Kingsbury is going to get his first Big 12 conference win.
Great job by him, short week, getting his team up to play against a team that not a lot of people gave them a chance against. I think he did a good job kind of putting the chip on their shoulder a little bit, reminding them, hey, we're picked to finish 8th in this conference start of the year. He got them ready to go, especially on defense.
And every coach needs to win early. Every coach needs that mojo. I can preach to you all you want. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But when you start to see success on the field is when you really start to believe and you start to buy in. And now I'm thinking Mr. Webb's going to be able to put it, see if he practiced this enough on the sidelines.
Secure the snap, yard off the ball, take a knee. We don't need the official.
We don't need anything else crazier to happen in this ball game.
Schedule sets up pretty nicely. Now they do have 3 of their 4 games in October in conference on the road. One of them is at Kansas, one's at West Virginia, which has struggled. Do have to go to Oklahoma at the end of the month.
But they could be undefeated heading into late October in that Oklahoma game.
Potentially. But as you said, wild conference. Who would have thought they would knock off the Frogs, who some believed were the favorite in the Big 12 in the preseason. The TCU, self-destructed at times with penalties. Had some bad breaks, frankly, on a couple of calls that were really damaging.
Got beat up front.
I was going to say, that was what was most damaging for them, was at Texas Tech on the defensive front. But now our final score from Lubbock. Texas Tech 20, TCU 10. For David Pollack, Jesse Palmer, Samantha Ponder, I'm Reese Davis. Thanks for being with us on Thursday Night.